Good morning, all. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Welcome back to another session. As you guys know, this session is for group one. I mean, everyone else is welcome to sit in, listen. It's always good to be in a learning environment. So group one is starting now, and later we'll continue with his workbook assignments. So Leighton, feel free to take over.
All right, morning, guys. Gilbert, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Gilbert, can you confirm that you are hearing me?
Yeah, hearing you.
Please.
Okay, so you started breaking up already, Leighton.
Okay. How is this? How is this now, Gilbert? Is this better?
Yeah, sounds better so far.
I think I'm seeing a bad internet connection. I'm seeing a bad internet connection on your end. I'm gonna ask what it is on the call. Please, can you just unmute? Just let me know if you're Avian, anybody, can you just confirm that?
It's cracking up. I'm not hearing you clearly. I hear the beginning of your sentence, and then I hear sounds like out of space thing.
Yeah, same here, Leighton. Thanks, Andrea.
Okay, morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Beverly.
Morning, Gilbert. So
Good morning, Roland.
Yes, I had missed a couple sessions. I had some serious issue with my internet.
Yeah, I think I saw you at the expo.
Yes, I was at the expo. I was at the Unleash conference, all those kind of things. But besides that, my internet had serious problem, you know.
Okay,
Then Digicel actually fixed it last Thursday, Friday, somewhere there about, yeah. Last Friday, I think, yeah. Yeah, Digicel actually fixed.
The expo was excellent, really good quality.
Yes, to everyone who was there. It was so good to see you guys there. It really was good to see you guys at the expo.
Yes, big up to my Vinci crew. Yeah, Kimya came to slay.
Yeah. You know, Kimya, she always tries to go above and beyond.
Yeah, man, it was so excellent. The quality was just so world class. I feel so proud of you guys.
Does anyone know what was the cost for you guys to be on at the expo? What did it cost you for you to be there, Roland?
Nothing, you know. It's just time. a lot of work and deadlines and so on. You know, just time.
Really?
Okay.
Secretariat
yeah, they didn't charge us anything, you know. But it was a lot of preparatory work and so on, and you know, yeah, and a lot of session. At times it was conflicting with this one, so it's like sometimes we have to have my both devices on, two different devices on, listening at both sessions.
You need to vow that you will never complain about paying taxes again. It works for you.
That's stealing from the government.
What you said?
It's stealing from the government without paying tax.
Well, I don't know about stealing from the government, you know, but if it is run right, you're stealing from yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I was saying, I was really proud to see you guys there and the quality of work that was done. I hope by next year there is just going to be a link from your booth to your sales platforms, whatever those are, so that you can immediately buy products. But it was really good seeing it. Just bear with Leighton a little bit. He's having a little bit of technical difficulties again, just like Roland was explaining. I guess his internet is giving problems, and he has multiple options, but let's see.
Gilbert, how am I sounding now?
Like a boss.
Like a boss?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, let's hope it continues that way. All right. Morning again, everybody. Which conference was this that you were referring to a while ago, Gilbert? I was over here in the chat.
OECS Expo. They had a virtual expo over the last 3 days.
Okay. Where was this? Which country is this?
The OECS, Organization of Eastern Caribbean States.
Okay.
So it was a virtual conference, so a virtual expo. So some of our some of the members of our cohort got to display their products and services. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
It really was good.
That's good to hear, guys. Always good to get out there and just be out there, you know. Find that sometimes as entrepreneurs we get very comfortable in our business space, you know, in our office, you know, in our routines. It's always good to be out there in front of persons, you know, introducing your business, talking about it, just being visible. I've been a great advocate for, you know, marketing the business and just, you know, being out there. Oftentimes it's not the reality of what is, but how it is perceived. And, you know, through marketing, it can really work magic as an entrepreneur for your business, you know. So good to hear that. All right, so I'm glad that we have gained some stability in our connectivity this morning. Let's hope it remains that way. So this morning we'll be, of course, going through our 3 tracks as usual. Gilbert, remember to let me know about the marketplace stuff shortly. All right.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah, man. So first session, of course, we'll be looking at you know, strategy for persons who are still putting together their business model. Checking to see if we have the participants, the cohort who are who selected this particular track to be in. I'm not seeing Troy at this point in time. Not seeing Troy. Or what's her name again? I'm always bad with names.
Troy and Kathy.
And Kathy, right. Yeah. Not seeing Kathy either, but we're gonna proceed nonetheless. Maybe they'll watch what they're recording and find value in what we shared. But of course, thanks again for everybody else who have selected our tracks and have decided to sit in on this first track session. We always want persons to understand that even though you may have a strategy, sometimes the strategy can be refined and improved through you know, hearing another perspective, or just going back through the process again. Our business changes and our business evolve. I'll have to tune in the ball with the business. All right. So last week we touched on revenue streams and target markets, and we did touch on customer touch points as part of our target markets. Now, this template supports businesses with one single target market, as well as businesses with multiple market segments. So Kim's Beauty's case, this focus on multiple market segments, and we have already listed the places that you can find customers based on the market segment. So we won't spend much time today on the touch points, because we already spent time on those touch points in terms of where the persons can perform. Touch points are really just places where we can reach our prospects and the existing customers as well, right? So we're going to get into customer relationships, and oftentimes, again, we don't think about these things when we're looking to set up how do we structure. Yes, of course, we do it, innately, but we don't. We're not purposeful about what's the strategy, defining that strategy, and how we activate against it. But it's normal. Again, you're setting up Kim's Beauty. All right, for hair care services, you're gonna need hair technicians or beauty technicians to provide that type of service. How is it that you activate online? Again, comes down to whether you're gonna have personal service, again, be a part of it, or self-service. So let's quickly look at some examples of how Kim's Beauty would activate each product from a customer relationship perspective. So we're going to actually add a column to the right, which is going to be the column that we put our products names in. So let's call this product category. And we're going to use about the same ones that we have here. But these are segments, not let's call it beauty services. We created this when we were doing Kim's Beauty's website demonstration. Hold on. All right, so we had beauty services, beauty products. Let's put that right here. All right, so beauty services, beauty products. We also have raw material, courses, and wedding packages, right? Right, so raw materials, courses, wedding packages. All right. Now for this, we're just going to literally indicate which service we how we manage customer relationships for each service. So you see, that's going to be that we offer both, that we offer one or offer none, right? So for beauty services, we definitely have to do a self-serve type of setup. So let's just put an X there as a check. Sorry, not self-serve, my bad. Beauty personal service. So this is where somebody has to support your buying process. So you literally sit down and ensure you speak to somebody what is that you want to have done, and they will provide a pricing for you, right? But for beauty products, this will definitely be a self-serve option. And this is whether or not we had a website or we were just selling the products in store, they would have literally been sitting on a shelf. You would go there, take up the product, look at it, probably spin it around, put it in the light, examine the bottle, and of course, most likely there will be a price tag on the product, and right away can take that up, bring it to the cashier and cash out, right? So that's you buying the product without any support at all from the business, except for, of course, when you reach the cashier to cash it out, right? Similarly, online, you would, in the case of Kim's Beauty Services, you would book an appointment. You would book an appointment online, and of course, what this means, of course, that this could also be self-serve. So beauty services, you go online, you book your appointment, and you turn up, get your service done, right? Now, at the end of the day, you can choose to, of course, break down the different types of ways to engage your customers based on the channel of engagement. So if it is that the customer is engaging in person, then you can choose to have a more personal experience for that customer, because of course they're in front of you. And then of course for online, you can allow them to self-serve. And that's a benefit, really. That's one of the benefits of having your website online, the ability to allow persons to serve themselves, to sign up, to book, to buy products and services without anybody having to support them, that is how you go to bed and wake up in the morning with sales being registered on your platform. Persons literally just doing it themselves, right? So when we're looking at e-commerce as a strategy, one of the things that we do want to tap into is the ability to enable persons to serve themselves as best as is possible. And we can build out different variations of a self-serving system for different types of businesses. At the end of the day, the more complex and complicated the product is that we sell, oftentimes the more personal service that is required to get the person to buy. It's more personal interactions, more engagements between the company agent and the client or prospect to get them to buy. But of course, there are ways for us to standardize our offerings and allow persons to go through like a questionnaire, to go through like a survey, to go through like a checklist, to fill out like a lead generation form that allows them to give you some information, and sometimes even give them the answers to what they're looking for without having to even interact with someone. Recently, we have seen the rise and increase of AI, and Gilbert, you being on that end of the space, and with greater rate of adoption of artificial intelligence in your market, maybe you could shed some light on how AI is helping to automate a lot of things, to enable self-serving, or to enable easier ways of doing things. I don't know if you have any input on that you want to share right now. I see ChatGPT being on the tips of everybody's tongue these days, and I'm hearing and also seeing a lot of what it can do. Bots have also come into play in before, of course. Well, bot is a form of artificial intelligence. So when you see persons having things like their live chats on their websites to support persons buying online, this is you offering a personal service to those persons. But at the same time, what some persons do is that you're not speaking to a rep from the very first interaction. You're actually speaking to a robot in maybe your first few requests. So if you went onto Kim's Beauty's website, and we could set a timer to say that if the customer is on this page for, let's say, 30 seconds, engaging with the chat, and chat pops up, "Hi, how can I help you?" And maybe you type in, "I'm looking for beauty services," and the bot responds and says, "Okay, thanks for your interest. These are the beauty services that we have available. Please click the one that you're most interested in." You click on that button, and it gives us some more responses. And based on the inputs that you select, it spits out different outputs, right? And it can become far more intuitive to provide a lot of information based on what you need, and AI is helping a lot to do this. And of course, when it gets to a point, there's always a cutoff point for bots where the questions or the information that is needed is not the standard question, or is not it's not probably even within the scope of what, or the knowledge base of what the bot can read from. That is when they will kick you over to a live chat representative for them to actually speak to you, whether it is through chat, you know, or even on the phone. They have bots that respond to you on the phone, you know, and give you the information that you need. So personal service online can be done through these methodologies, can also be done through WhatsApp, chat, and so forth, right? So there are different ways to activate self-service and also personal service through your website. Keep in mind that you have to focus on what the needs are of your customers. Also, one of the things I will tell you flat out from internet communication standpoint. Okay, there was apologies. Okay, from a communication standpoint on your website, a lot of persons tend to want to put live chat on their websites because I feel like it makes them look big. It makes them look very professional. And for me, I find that it increases buying confidence, because I feel like, you know, if somebody is there to support me with any question I have at any time, night and day, then these guys must have their business together, right? They must be of a certain standards. If I purchase something from them, I would expect that if their timeline says, you know, you're going to process the transaction in 3 days, I expect it to be done in 3 days. You know, these are some of the confidence. This is some of the things that you know, having a live chat does for your website and your prospective shopper. It really drives a lot of confidence in them making a buying decision, and also being able to get information on the fly as you're considering the purchase helps a lot in closing the sale, especially for those who may be on the fence, right? But I oftentimes recommend to persons that, hey, if you don't have dedicated live chat resources for a website, don't do it. Yes, it will look good, but your customer will not get the experience that they expect. If they go on a live chat and don't get a rep responding to them within a minute, not even 2, you've lost that customer. Customer is gone, and maybe you've also lost their confidence in shopping with you, right? So because of that, I recommend that for persons, especially solo entrepreneurs or small business persons who don't have the capacity, even if you have an admin agent who is sitting at their desk, logging QuickBook entries, checking emails, don't put that person in a live chat. There are times when the live chat window is closed, and if there are not sound alerts to draw that person's attention to the live chat, then you will find that you're not gonna deliver the end result that you want to deliver. Instead of having a live chat, I recommend you do something like a WhatsApp floating button, where persons can click on that WhatsApp button or click on a WhatsApp number and engage the business to get the information they need. Why is this better? Persons are already used to having delayed WhatsApp communication. It's normal for me to be up at 12 o'clock in the night and remember that, oh, I need to send a message to John Brown. I don't expect John Brown to be responding to me at midnight, but I know that he will sit in the morning and respond at sometime through the day. It's also normal for us to expect to engage with businesses and their response rate to be within 24 hours. So for us as small business who want to leverage personal service as a way of building relationships with our customers through our website, we encourage that you utilize things like lead generation forms or WhatsApp chat buttons, right?
Leighton, you're acting on our side, right? You're talking about what are the possibilities? Like AI is absolutely a borderline application. Right? When it comes to business, it's very, very helpful. So even if you put live chat now, there's a live chat applications that would say, hey, we are currently closed, but would you like to leave a message that we could respond to by a certain time? The thing is, when we look at the small businesses in the region and just the whole lack of resources and the cost of hiring people to do live chat, it's often beyond our means. So even if we have a live chat that can actually take messages and relay those messages to you, letting the consumer know, hey, we're currently not available, we're currently not manning this desk, but we are willing to take a message and respond to you by a certain time. Those are good. We are currently working on a solution with another AI firm. And what our live chat would do, what our bots would do, is actually learn our entire inventory of products, right? Based on the descriptions. Like I know there are a few of members of the cohorts who are currently joining our platform. And what that AI would do would learn the product based on your descriptions, based on your ingredients, based on all of that stuff. So when the customer comes on, the questioning and the answers are based on a full understanding of our scale and range of products. So it's no longer guessing, and it's no longer waiting for someone to actually get online with you. It understands and it's localized, meaning it's able to speak to you in a natural, fluent, and eventually a cultural language, which is really, really cool because that saves us a ton of money that we can now reallocate to stuff like marketing. We also have, and I think you know this as well, Leighton, where the live chat can be linked to your phone for those who don't have the resources to go that far. So when a message comes in, you get a message on your phone where you can actually respond to those messages as well. So there are lots of things there, but more than anything else, the AI impact would be on your administrative side, where it would let you know what products, the data mining that we talk about in so many of our sessions, rather than you going in and trying to figure out a lot of that stuff for yourself, the AI would actually spit that out to you in the form of numbers and recommendations. So it's good. On a personal side, it's not something that I want to mess with at all. Right? There's too much room for fraud. There's a lot of room for fraud when it comes to AI. So just on your side, you just got to be careful with that aspect of it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, input, Gilbert. And as we get more and more into intelligent solutions, which I think is the direction the entire world is heading into, we expect it to get better and better, but we also have to know where to draw the line based on our own understanding of its usage and also our understanding of the risks that come with working with something like this, because I cannot imagine what could possibly happen from a communication standpoint is that if an AI solution is hacked, these AI solutions, of course, are representing our business in the way that a human agent would, and if that is the breach, then I could see where that could be catastrophic. But going back to basics, at the end of the day, as I mentioned, and Gilbert just allude to the fact that we do have live chat solutions that come with a mobile app. We've set this up before. I've had it before, even on my own phone, on my own business, when I was exploring with live chat for my business communication. But you simply found that the immediacy of the response that is needed oftentimes is just not ideal. You're driving, you get this notification from there's a live chat person on your website or ready to engage, and by the time you pull over, that person is gone, or you miss that communication, and for some reason your client is no longer online. So I find personally that engagements that leave a record of the communication in small businesses are better than trying to be engaged in live communications with customers. If you realize it's mainly very large companies that do this pretty well. So companies that digital flow of thousands of customers and literally cannot staff their call center with enough agents to manage all of these inquiries. They try to use bots to, weed out the simple and easier stuff and have their agents focus on more advanced queries, But of course, I would say in our case, recommend that persons consider using live chat or using simple forms. And this is an example of a website that we created for an investment company here in Jamaica. They have a credit union that's one of the largest credit unions in Jamaica here. And I just wanted to scroll down to their form, which is a lead generation form, and they're saying, get free financial advice. And you can come here, put in your name, phone number, email address, location, and of course, whether it is the amount that you were thinking about starting with, or you can actually leave a query here and their agent will come back to you. We've done this even through SMS as well, where persons can send a text message to a certain phone number and receive an automatic response to that text message, and even a follow-up phone call from there. How does that work? Let's use the example of NCB, one of the largest banks here in Jamaica. Once upon a time, or actually we still do. If I should open up my SMS system right now, you will see right now text messages coming in from potential customers or from prospects who saw their ads. So whenever they run these ads offline specifically, so you're putting something on TV, radio, billboard, flyers, anything that's offline, and you want persons to express interest in whatever it is that you have to offer or get more information, using a text number for persons to text to is actually one of the most cut through forms of lead generation resources that you can use. Why? Text messaging costs these days are negligible. They're so small that persons oftentimes don't really think about it. The networks have also done a great job of offering cheap or free SMS to its customer base. So whether it is a digital had this thing once upon a time where you could send your first 5 text messages for the day for free. Now in a day like today, where majority of us are using WhatsApp, almost every day we don't use that text message function. So you find that if you saw an ad that required you to send a text message, it would be a no-brainer for you to do this. We've done promotions with companies like NCB, companies like High Pro here in Jamaica that specializes in agricultural, supporting agricultural sector with things like fertilizers and agricultural products. We've used SMS to generate leads from persons like farmers. Farmers are some of the hardest persons to get to because they're busy in their fields. They are not generally amongst the most educated and sometimes the most literate set of demography of your customer base. So you find that oftentimes people like this are sometimes difficult to reach, but SMS cuts through to everybody. Once you have a phone with GSM, with a GSM SIM card inside it, out of the box, you're able to make a call, you're able to send a text message. So you find that you can use SMS as an easy way for persons to express interest in what you have to offer when you're running promotions offline and so forth, right? But of course, coming back to customer relationship management, as I said, there are different ways to choose how you engage your clients. You need to know, based on the nature of your business, what is priority to you, what is going to get your customer through the door. I know that on my end, trust is very important for my customer to buy from me. My customer will hardly ever buy from me unless they speak to me. I've had clients who send me a WhatsApp message, get the quotation, and they move immediately. But this is because maybe they have heard about the type of work that I do. Maybe they have interacted with the business. Maybe they came through a very strong referral of somebody who I did some work for before. And, they're just sure that they want to work with my company. And that happens a few times. There are some times when it does happen, but it oftentimes happens most with the existing customers. So there's an existing customer they want to buy some more messages, they want to do something like that, they just send me a WhatsApp. Their customers, some of my biggest customers are persons who have never ever met face to face, never ever met face to face, with a lot of communication via email, via WhatsApp. And we're very, hands-on, very responsive in how we respond to persons and engage with them. And because of that level of responsiveness, they are sure that, by sending me a WhatsApp, by sending me an email, they'll get a certain type of response within a certain time frame as well. If of course they don't get it within that time frame, then they make a call. But I know that personal service is required for my products to sell. If I don't get involved, or our company agent doesn't get involved into that sales process, then the sale is never made. And we have to be very clear about what areas, what elements of our business can be done in that way, and those that cannot. So for example, one thing that I'm doing right now is setting up my SMS system in a way where persons can now just go online, sign up for it, make a purchase, buy your messages. We know that there are some persons who will complete the sales process like that, but we know that majority of them will want to speak to somebody, or maybe want to get a demo, want someone to walk them through, want to just confirm that, whatever features they need are absolutely necessary, or rather that it is provided. But I will tell you that the reorders will be streamlined automatically through that type of platform, because once you're using it, it's just a matter of topping up, which then frees up my time, my agent's time to do other things. So we have to know at what point do we use personal service, at what point do we use self-service, do we use it any at all, and how it is being used. It's not a one size fits all or a cookie cutter. That also doesn't mean that if you're using personal service in one area or one type of engagement, you can't use so if you're using personal service in one area or one type of engagement, you can't use self-service in another on the same product, So these are things to consider when you're doing it. In terms of selling raw materials, again, more likely this will be a personal service, because you're purchasing in bulk. For the course, we would say self-service, and definitely for the wedding package, absolutely nobody will buy a wedding package off the internet. I was clicking a button and closing the sale. So you expect to have some type of engagement with the customer when doing that, right? So that's quick. That's a quick synopsis of how we would approach customer relationship management with Kim's Beauty. Let's move over to distribution strategy. How will we get the products into the hands of prospective customers, online and offline? So in the case of Kim's Beauty offline, we're going to use Kim's Beauty Store, right, as our offline interface. We're going to use Kim's Beauty's website, right, as also the online channel. And then how can persons get their hands onto Kim? How can we get the products in the hands of prospective customers? We could choose to retail, also in retail beauty products, in stores, pharmacies. Where else can we find beauty-related products? Pharmacies, gas stations. That's a good one. Gas stations. But that's a quick idea of it. And then, of course, we could even go as far as getting into affiliates, right? Affiliates, where we have different persons who represent the brand out there, tell people about it, and earn from sales completed from their marketing efforts, right? And of course, we can link the affiliate program to an online program. It can also be an offline program, which really varies as to how you want to execute that element of it, right? So those will be my distribution strategies I'll focus on. So we use a store, we would use retail outlets, affiliates, and of course the website to get the product out there, right? And then the last element I want to touch on for strategy today where Kim's Beauty is concerned, is the key sales activities that need to happen to make this work. And this is going to feed into our last track on promoting promoting your business or launching your campaigns. At the end of the day, guys, from a strategic perspective, we have to know how we are going to drive sales. Like a business that does not sell is not a business, it's a hobby, right? So we have to be focusing a lot from day one. How are we going to sell services of Kim's Beauty? How are we going to get persons to buy, right? So we look right away at what are sales campaign activities. I would say that we need to run whenever we're doing campaigns. Is there a question? Mina, is there a question? I think I see where you're on mute. You unmute your mic.
No, sir, sorry. My phone automatically unmute.
Okay, no problem. I was gonna go back
Trying to.
Yeah, thanks. All right, guys. So when you're looking at your sales activities, we have to look at them. Hold on, let's try to resolve this. Yes. All right. All right, cool. Yeah, so when you're looking at your sales activities, you have to look at it first and foremost for the year and then by quarter. Similar to how you should look at your sales targeting. You have targets for the year, targets for the quarter, and you break down your monthly targets. Your quarterly targets for the month. And one of the reasons why we look at this way is that the quarter gives us enough time to make up ground if we're behind, and to even overperform if we can. At the end of the day, generally we have targets that we have to meet for the entire year, right? And if Q1 is, you can have a bad Q1, a bad Q2, a bad Q3, and a great Q4, and all your targets are still met for the year. I know companies who sell majority of their products during one season for the year. So for example, in Jamaica, Tasty Cheese and Maxfield, Easter Bun, these bun and cheese brands that make that sell a lot of their products during Easter, because Jamaica bun and cheese, I don't know where it come from, but bun and cheese is a big thing during Easter in Jamaica. And these guys sell probably 80% of their revenue for the entire year during this small period. There are also these brands that do things like fruit cake and Christmas related products that make majority of their monies during Christmas. I actually saw a store one day in Kingston that was just a Christmas store. And I wondered to myself, is this store open right throughout the year, or is it open only in Christmas? Similarly, again, to in the States, you have seasonal businesses that are closed during winter, open during summer, are open during winter and closed during summer. So we have to understand clearly how we sell our products, what type of activities we need to support the sale of those products, and how we're going to make it work. I've organized this into 3 categories. Ongoing sales activities. There are certain activities that you must do in an ongoing manner to keep your business top of mind, to keep your brand top of mind, to keep constant engagement with your customer base. And I would normally start with brand activations, right? Just simply whether it is running ads or activation. So you could be running a brand ad talking about your why a person should choose you right through the year. KFC, I think, does a very good job of this. No matter what's going on, business good, business bad, KFC is always running an ad. And for that reason, the child that was born yesterday already knows that when it's time to eat chicken, KFC is the place to go. When it's time to think about fast food in Jamaica, KFC is the first place to go. Everybody has to play catch up with KFC in that regard, because you're always running ongoing brand campaigns and brand activations. There's also some brands that run continuous sampling. So sometimes continuous sampling activities, right? Maybe you sell a wine, maybe you sell a sauce, maybe you decide that, all right, you know what, right throughout the year, I'm going to be running sampling activities because that's how persons are going to buy. And I say, all right, at least once or twice a month, I'm going to be showing up at these supermarkets for the entire year. And through that consistent activity, persons will get exposed to the brand, get exposed to the product, and then will become inclined to make that purchase at that point in time. So you can have, you know, brand activations, marketing campaigns, sampling, sampling. For those of us who are into professional services, we could be doing webinars, right throughout the year. Again, you maybe have one per quarter, one per month, but it's an ongoing, you have a continuous schedule of these things that continuously seek to engage persons and let them know what it is that you have to offer. One of the things that we oftentimes forget, and you know, it came up again in our track 3 discussions, is that, you know, we were looking at, for those who may not have been on the call, we're looking at, all right, you know, how can we set up a campaign that promotes our business and its products? And for some of us who did not have products that were ready to promote, we felt like, hey, we could not create a campaign. But we have to remember oftentimes, guys, that people buy from persons who they know, persons who they trust. You could come up with the greatest campaign for your product and have challenge getting buy-in to it because people just don't know who this person is that they're buying it from. Yes, it's a great product, but there's so much skepticism around making a purchase because I simply don't know who you are, right? And that's the first hurdle to get over where sales is concerned, especially for those of us who sell professional services or sell services that are seen as, you know, high value services, or just services that we know people who are dear to their hearts. So for argument's sake, you know, I find it very difficult to go to a new barber. I mean, this guy's fully in charge of how I will look today and tomorrow, and at least for the next week. I cannot afford for this person to make a mess of my hair and my face when I have to show up with the same hair and this face for the rest of the week, you know? So it depends on how persons see, of course, your business, but at the end of the day, guys, we have to sell ourselves first before our products. We have to sell our brands first before our products. People need to know about who we are, why they should buy from us, how are we different, what are the differentiating factors between us and our competitors. And then you'll find out, people are now saying, so what is it, what are the things that you actually sell, you know, just by, you know, learning about you and identifying that, okay, this person could actually be a provider of a solution that I may need. And when I say a solution, it could be a simple product as well, right? But we have to run these campaigns to let persons know that we exist. This is what we do, and this is why you should shop with us, even before you start promoting the products out there, right? You can do it also hand in hand. You don't have to be running brand campaigns for a year before you start pushing out your products or your promotion. You can run it hand in hand as well, where you're telling persons about who you are. And of course, you also introduce maybe your first product or your first suite of products to them, letting them know, all right, this is who we are, and also this is what you can get from us, right? So keep that in mind. And you know, there are certain types of campaigns that we run right through the year. So things like Google search campaigns are campaigns that companies like Expedia, Bookings.com run right through the year. If you're looking for an email marketing solution and you Google email marketing, you're going to see an ad from MailChimp, you're going to see an ad maybe from ActiveCampaign, you're going to see an ad maybe from Hootsuite or whichever CRM solutions that exist out there, right? And this is because, again, these types of products are bought right through the year as people need them. So we have to structure ourselves to go after that opportunity, seize it, and see how best you can tweak it to improve the return on investment that you're making. Because there is always a cost associated to sampling, marketing, brand activations, or webinars. Even if that cost is time, there is a cost associated with it. And as I mentioned, the cost of time, that's one of the things that we as caring entrepreneurs oftentimes don't consider when we're thinking about, you know, costs, hidden costs or even just costing our products and services. Always have to remember the time factor, guys. Time is money. Some of us here sell time, so we understand exactly what that means. We may have an hourly rate, $50 per hour, $100 per hour. Give yourself an hourly rate and apply that cost to the time that you spend with these things, so you can clearly identify and apply a cost to this execution. But we must know this. And as I say, I encourage persons to find at least one or two things that you can do on an ongoing, consistent basis. One thing about sales, guys, is that it requires consistency. And that's why you have to have something that's always happening, right? Then, of course, you have your seasonal campaign. The seasonal campaigns could be based on commercial commercial seasons throughout the year. So let's use the example of Trinidad. Trinidad has Carnival in February, March of every year. And for that season, anything related to Carnival or anything that enhances the Carnival experience, you definitely want to be having some focus on selling those things. So, you may be living in Trinidad and you may have, say, for instance, a property that you can offer short-term rentals for that period, because we know that hotels and Airbnbs are going to be overbooked. So maybe during that period, if you had a property or something like that you were marketing, you're going to want to be marketing that for Carnival, right? If it is that maybe you had a restaurant, for argument's sake, again, thousands of people are descending on Port of Spain, where they're going to need basic things. Are they going to eat? They're going to sleep. They're gonna need different things just to survive during that period. Are you positioning yourself during that period to take advantage of? Or you could look at it from a perspective of, all right, I am into beauty services as Kim's Beauty is. I'm gonna go after the seasons that I know people need to definitely get beauty services done. So the Kim's is operating in Jamaica. You could look at our Valentine's Day, the time that all females who are engaged with a partner or courting may want to dress up and doll up and look good for Valentine's Day, dinners, dates, and so forth. So she could target that season. She could also target again Carnival season here in Jamaica. Again, Carnival for the females. It's a big deal about doing a makeup, just glamming up. There are service providers here, Carnival service providers here that provide beauty services on the day of the Carnival, starting from as early as 4:30 in the morning, going straight up until maybe midday, just to allow persons to come in, get glammed up before going on the road. Again, Kim's Beauty could tap into Mother's Day occasions, moms. Mother's Day is coming up, you want to look good for that Mother's Day experience, whether it is you're going to brunch, whether it is you're going to a family dinner. But of course, you know that these days pictures are going to be taken, right? Once pictures are taken, people want to look good. So we could look at these commercial seasons as times to really position our products and services to the target markets that we're going after. When you're thinking about it. And then you have specials, right? Where maybe you have a clearance sale, maybe you have a buy one, get one. Maybe this is for slow periods. You can have slow periods, goods expiring, what else would you have a special? All right, sometimes you're introducing something new and you want to offer it at an introductory rate, right? So let's call it introductory rates, right? Introductory rates, right? Or something new. You may want to have a special or a sale to introduce this to somebody, right? Or maybe again, slow targets. So you're trying to meet a target, and it's a slow period. People hardly buy during this period. Well, guess what? You're offering something special to get that buy-in, right? And these are the 3 areas that generally try to get persons to focus on when structuring their sales and marketing activations. Because at the end of the day, guys, we have to be very targeted and very purposeful. These sales don't make themselves. I can tell you that in my company, I am the lead sales resource, right? So I always have to be thinking about, sales and how we're going to make it work, because at the end of the day, again, I'm the one responsible for paying all salaries at the end of the month, paying all bills. I better make that sale happen, right? So these are some of the thought process that we'll go through when doing so. Are there any questions on these things that we just touched on? Customer relationships, distribution strategies, key sales activities that you need to organize around. Any questions at all before we jump over to the e-commerce setup section? Any questions at all? Any comments? Anything you learned that's new today? Anything that you want to add? Gilbert, anything on your end? Checking.
No. I'm satisfied with what's here.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, so we're gonna move over to technical setup. Gilbert, did you consider what I just mentioned earlier before the call, or we're not running with that?
Yeah, so I was just talking with the team. They're not ready. They're making some changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
No problem.
All right, just loading Kim's Beauty. All right, so Kim's Beauty, I'm coming back to our technical setup. Just bear with me for a second here. Right, module 3. All right, so we already did the technical documentation for Kim's Beauty as it relates to different types of setups. Last week, we went through the technical areas of creating products. I think we did that the week before. Last week, we focused more so on what happens on the back end of things where Kim's Beauty is concerned. So we looked at the e-commerce settings that we had to enable. What are some of the best practices around those features? We also looked at things like payment systems and payment gateways that we need to activate for Kim's Beauty to work how it should. Let me just do some checks on our back end here. All right, so you'll have remembered that when we did this review, we were not able to look at how credit card payment showed up. I asked one of my team members to just quickly set this up for us. So I asked them to add PayPal checkout to that process. So probably we can start by looking at that, and let's look at the shop now. All right, so shop now. Not very good. Let's go to shopping page first. All right, so we added the products as we mentioned. Let's add this product to cart. Right, and then let's proceed to checkout. Right, so I should have remembered we had bank transfer as a payment method, cash on delivery. Then you could come and actually select PayPal. And once you selected PayPal, what it did was give you a pop-up option. When I did fill out this information here. That's it. Let me click this back again. PayPal. Valid billing address. All right, so this is still being configured, it seems. I'm getting an error there. So I know it's probably still in configuration. But anyway, I wanted to go mainly to our home page. So if regards to payment gateways, PayPal isn't available to us. What about Google Pay? we have some info on that payment system. All right, Irene, which country are you in? Irene, you can unmute and just speak, please, if you don't mind. Irene? Oh, Guyana. Okay, interesting. All right, so I didn't know that Guyana did not have access to PayPal. And when you say you don't have access to PayPal, I don't know exactly what that means. Is it that you are not able to sign up for this PayPal service, or
so Leighton, the problem exists throughout a lot of Caribbean countries. Jamaica is in a very privileged position when it comes to a lot of these payment solutions. PayPal would not send or accept payments on behalf of businesses in a number of Caribbean countries. So even if you sign up and you can't get the money.
Can't get the money.
Nope.
Even if you request a check.
Can't get it. They just would not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a big payment solutions in the Caribbean is a big issue. And it doesn't have to be, right? But it currently is. And hopefully we can resolve that in a relatively short space of time. I know there's solutions being worked on. And those are expected to be resolved within a relatively short space of time.
Okay. All right. So you asked about Google Pay. So Google Pay is going to be a similar thing. It's worse than PayPal, where the Caribbean is concerned. These Google Pay, Apple Pay, any of these payment solutions are restricted to only a few countries, maybe about 23 countries, if my memory serves me correct.
And mostly countries in the global north. Yeah.
Yeah, the global north. Yes. So between USA, North America, and Europe, that's pretty much
Correct.
who they
Correct.
open up a lot of their payment services too. And that is how we have to find other ways to make it work for us. Interestingly though, you mentioned that you cannot access your PayPal funds. I've seen persons use PayPal as a payment gateway and use the funds in a very innovative ways. But it varies from from business to business. What do I mean by this? Yes, they can't get access to the funds, but what they will do is that they will use the funds to buy back raw material. So if it is that you purchase raw material online from a supplier overseas, then maybe you can find a supplier that accepts PayPal payments, and you can pay them directly from your PayPal wallet. Also, social media advertising managers allow you to make payment using PayPal as well, whether it is paying with your credit card or paying with PayPal funds. So you can actually, use those funds back in marketing. Yes, you can't put your hand on it if you don't want to run majority, or you don't want a case where majority of your sales are going to PayPal and you can't touch it. But that's one way how persons have used it. Where Iris Costly, where Guyana is concerned, let me just do a quick check here. If First Atlantic Commerce supports Guyana. Let's do a quick check here on that one. Available countries. So we do have Guyana on the list here for First Atlantic Commerce. So right away, that's one resource. Now, guys, I want you to be very clear where payments is concerned. First Atlantic Commerce is the Caribbean region's #1 payment processor for e-commerce transactions. As you notice here, they have listed at least 22 countries in the Caribbean that they support directly. And how their service works is that generally you don't go to First Atlantic Commerce directly for an account with them. You go to the bank in your country that First Atlantic Commerce powers, right? And I know was a list of which banks, I don't remember how to find out, but I don't want to get lost into a rabbit hole either. But generally, in every country at First Atlantic powers, they have at least 1 to 3 banks that they work with. You know, so I've seen for like Cayman, who has quite a number of banks. I've seen in support of the 3 banks in Cayman. I think I've seen the same thing in Trinidad and Barbados. In Jamaica, there's 3 banks as well. They are the ones who cover NCB, Scotiabank, and First, what's the name? CIBC, right? So those 3 banks are the ones who cover that in Jamaica. So, you know, as Caribbean businesses, the first place that you should be looking for a payment service that works for you is First Atlantic Commerce. It's when you can't afford First Atlantic Commerce, or if First Atlantic Commerce doesn't support the platform that you have built your website on, then you should start considering other options. Payments has been a headache in the Caribbean. It has been an area of least understanding for most persons. However, these guys, First Atlantic Commerce, have found a way to make it work for us, right? And they have the greatest coverage right across group. And for that reason, even in my own practice, we specialize in e-commerce enablement. We hug up First Atlantic Commerce, where understanding their requirements, understanding how they work is concerned. Even when it comes to building technologies and integrating technologies, we first start with First Atlantic Commerce. Why? Because they're the ones in our region who best support us and what we want to achieve. So we ensure, as here's on Scotiabank, but payments are routed to the Bahamas, not feasible in terms of commission. What's the commission that you have to pay with Scotiabank with their payments? You can type that in the chat as well if you don't want to unmute. Normally here in Jamaica, we're used to commission, well, the total transaction fee being a total of maybe about 4.5%. I've seen persons offer as low as 3.9%, but I don't remember if that is plus tax, which will sometimes bring it up to the same 4.5%. I've seen PayPal offer as high as, well, as low as 5.4%, and I've heard it go up to even more. And these processes, the international ones especially, will have different reasons for adding rates to your transaction. Some of the times, if they identify that, you know, a card is being used from overseas in the country, then they will charge sometimes an additional 0.5 or additional 1%. I've seen Stripe do that before. In the case of, again, Stripe, who supports Caribbean currencies, if you list your currency in JMD or TT or EC or Bayesian dollars, once it does the conversion rate back to USD, it charges either 1% or another 0.5% on the commission. So, you know, the commission rates are quite varied from bank to bank. In Jamaica, we enjoy commission rates of about, as a 3.9 upward to 4.5%, depending on which bank you may go, right? Gilbert, you want to say something a while ago?
I was going to say, again, so if you pay attention, get enough feedback. Yeah, I was going to say, so these commissions, right? You have to know, and we spoke about this earlier, you also have to factor these things into the price of your products. So when the credit card adds a commission of 4.5 or 4.5%, or PayPal rates are really, really prohibitive, I find. You have to take that into consideration and add it back to the price of your product, because it's like you're deducting another 3.5, 4.5% from your sales, and you don't want that. So take these things into consideration, even as you reach out to First Atlantic. Well, even as you reach out to your bank directly and ask them what their rates are, because First Atlantic could hit you with a charge, plus your bank is going to hit you with another charge, and all those charges have to be added into the price of the products.
Right. And for every institution that First Atlantic works with, they normally have about 3 charges that come with the service. There is the setup of the account. which sometimes covers from anywhere from 100 US to 200 US. Before COVID, I saw persons charging as much as 500 US to 1,000 USD to open an account. COVID has brought great competitiveness within the space, and because of that, some of these rates have significantly been reduced, right? So you can find that you have a setup fee of anywhere from $100 to maybe about $200 to access the service from the bank. Then the bank is also going to charge you another something like 30 to 40 US dollars every month to maintain the account with the institution. And then you also have a transaction fee that you have to pay for every single transaction. Sorry, the commission rate that you have to pay for every single transaction that goes through their processing, right? So you have to be mindful of those three things. And those are the reasons. Oh, hold on. This cannot, if this is right, this is prohibitive. So I'm seeing here where I'm seeing that here in Guyana, their commission, the commission they have to pay is in excess of 19%. This is
do not be surprised by those numbers at all, Leighton. In spaces where the banks, when the banks have that monopoly and come to payment gateway, they will. It's legal extortion. It is.
Wow. So I'll be very upfront with you guys. I'm going to be very upfront. If I were an entrepreneur in Guyana, and this is what I was faced with, if I am doing e-commerce, if I'm 100% committed to doing e-commerce, I would find a company like Stripe Connect or a company like My USA Corporation and register my business in the US. Get access to all of these easy, readily available and cheap resources and sell my products through that company. I would not be struggling or fighting with these ridiculous, like 19%. That's like that's an unsecured loan rate. Like that's crazy for transactions.
The other option is jump on a marketplace. Jump on a marketplace like ours. Jump on a marketplace like Shop Carib. Those rates are significantly better.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy in a number of the Caribbean countries. It's just, and she's just talking about. Irene's just talking about the percentage. Now, just think about the requirements. Right now, I'm here and I'm doing a bank account in a Caribbean island. And I swear to you, I have about close to 50 pages of documentation that I have to send to this bank to open up an account. That's before they even verify it. It's ridiculous. And I'm looking at half of the document and I'm like, I don't understand, but it is what it is. So that's just the percentage plus the requirement.
Yeah, the requirements can be high to open the accounts, I must say. Even my own experience, I haven't even reached the point of getting the e-commerce accounts in place as yet, but I had to open some bank accounts for my new business, and it was file jackets of documentation. Like it felt like you were applying for your life,
They again, in some of these documents, it becomes very, very, very close to a violation of your personal information. You're like, man.
It does.
And then you have to trust them to keep this information safe. Like I'm putting social security number along with everything else that could breach an account.
Right.
And you're putting this in paper form that is going to be stored in some file that somebody may have access to. It's great. It's scary.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, even just going through my own process here in Jamaica, it can be a daunting one. But these are the things that we have to go through as entrepreneurs in the Caribbean until things get better, right? So that 19%, guys, is prohibitive. It's really prohibitive. I don't see any business that can thrive on a 90% commission rate. Like this is almost like custom duty type of increases to your products. Like it's gonna make everything you sell significantly more expensive if you build that back in. So as Gilbert mentioned, you can consider a marketplace solution that supports your country, or you can consider setting up your business in the US in one of those tax-free haven states and get your business going, right? I've seen a lot of persons successfully do it. I have done it with my previous business, Mobile Edge, and it has worked wonders. I did it because I'm a technology company that needs to offer first class and first world solutions to this Caribbean market. And that was the only way for me to be able to guarantee my ability to do that, to have a presence, a physical presence set up in the US to access these resources. You find that once you have a business created in the US, it changes the game for you in terms of what becomes available to you or not. Because I tell you that any piece of technology that is created and any resource that you will find usable or beneficial to your business will be available to the US, maybe first, unless it was probably made in China or one of those Asian countries that have extremely large populations, right? But everything, the US market has access to everything. So once you are a resident or you have a registered business there, you are able to do that, right? All right, so quick question that Aaron asks is, can we have a workable alternative? Please offer step-by-step solution on this one. All right, so I mentioned to you, bottom line, if 90% is what you're being faced with your local bank, that's strictly, that's just prohibited. So you'd have heard us talk about some of the marketplace opportunities with persons who are in the group, as well as there are other marketplace solutions that I know have come up, Carib Shopper, and a number of others that, of course, there are quite a number of marketplace solutions that are available. Of course, Gilbert also has FMIF on his end that is able to support different types of companies here in the region. If you were to register in the US, it's really just about signing up. So as I said, check out this company, My USA Corporation. Just Google them. They are the company that I used to create my company overseas, and it's a very simple process. You engage them. I think they charged me at the time about 750 USD to do this, and what they did was they incorporated the company. They gave me also a mailing address for Brickell in Miami. The only thing that I wasn't able to get from them was a bank account, right? To create that. Namecheap. Namecheap is the same server company, Namecheap, that you're saying, Andrea, charges 500 USD. Okay, I don't know. I have trust issues with Namecheap, but I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't use them. I just find them to be a very cheap service. And sometimes with cheapness, you don't get the best, But if you have a great experience with them, then feel free to try them out. But there's also Stripe Atlas. Stripe Atlas is a similar type of company to My USA Corporation, but let me see if I can actually find them online here. But this is very important stuff here. Stripe Atlas. And so here it is. Stripe Atlas. I'm a fan of Stripe, honestly. They make payments easier than PayPal to me. They're a easier company to work with. I like their interface. I like the fact that over time, with trust, they will give you same-day payouts. So you collected something today, money today, you can get it paid out into your account today. There's absolutely no financial institution or payment processor in the Caribbean that supports that type of same-dayness, But what happens with Stripe is that Stripe is PayPal's largest competitor right now in the US. They are not legally allowed to support or to service countries outside of their registered jurisdictions. So all these popular payment gateway providers have about 23 or 22 different countries that they are automatically eligible to provide their services to, whether it is that they are low risk countries or they're of a more advanced nature, for whatever reasons their licenses cover these areas. Countries in the Caribbean are exempt from this service for similar regulatory reasons, maybe whether it is that they consider us to be high risk, maybe it is that they've identified that, you know, Caribbean and African countries tend to have a lot of fraud, and or maybe it is that the service level of the businesses that are run in these countries are not necessarily at the level that they would want to be. And in a business where there's poor service levels, there tends to be more disputes, more refunds, and all those things are just big headaches for payment service providers, right? So for that reason, Stripe has realized that, hey, these guys need our services, but they don't qualify because of where they live. Stripe Atlas is a means of enabling companies who are resident in countries that are not within their approved jurisdictions to register your company in the US, which is of course one of their approved jurisdictions, so that they can provide a service to you. So Stripe Atlas enables persons outside of the US to sign up and create companies within the US, again within one of these tax-free states. Normally they're going to choose either Delaware or Wyoming. I think 8 times out of 10, I think persons choose Delaware. I don't know if it's because Delaware was probably one of the earlier ones or earlier states out the block that supported these tax-free initiatives and supported business registrations. I think Stripe Atlas tend to use Delaware, but it is a simpler, a simplified process of getting access to the payment service that you need from the US, right? And the benefit of using Stripe Atlas versus a My USA corporation is that it registers the business for you. It gives you a Stripe account, and if my memory serves me correct, I think it also does hook you up with one of those digital banks in the US. So like it can connect like your Mercury. I don't know if you guys have heard about Mercury as a wallet service provider in the US. Gilbert, do you know much about Mercury, and can you highly recommend them?
No, I do not. Stripe Atlas is what I know. I read some stuff on Mercury, which seems to be competing with them well, but Stripe Atlas is what I know.
No, Mercury is like a digital bank.
The bank.
Right. So we have to explain the difference, guys, so people understand. The main difference between PayPal and Stripe, guys, is that PayPal is a wallet service provider that supports e-commerce transactions. So when you set up your PayPal integration on your website and funds are collected, it sits in a digital wallet account until you're ready to cash it out, and you can send it to a bank account. With Stripe, Stripe is just a payment gateway. So you hook up Stripe on your website, Stripe processes the transaction, and then it sends the money to a wallet or a financial institution where you can then access the funds. Stripe doesn't hold funds for you after they are cleared, right? And that is why it needs a financial institution or a wallet solution to collect those funds. So for instance, in the past, I think persons have used Payoneer with Stripe to, you know, collect monies from Stripe and you know, withdraw it from their Payoneer card or transfer it to their bank account in Jamaica. You know, that's how it works, right? So with this case, Stripe gives you everything that you need to be able to so see, it says here, it incorporates your company, issues stock to founders, purchase shares, also opens bank accounts and stuff like that, right? So it gives you a lot of it's a turnkey solution for opening a business and getting a payment gateway, everything that you need for an e-commerce business. That's what Stripe Atlas does. So this is probably my #1 choice for anybody who has to use a methodology like this to get into e-commerce. All right. All right, Shannon, we will definitely miss you. Yes. Irene, going back to your question, I've heard of a person setting up VPN to hide location. How legal is that? The minute you have to start hiding, I don't recommend anything that requires hiding. Business should be done above board at all times. If you're going to sleep well in your bed at night and feel comfortable guaranteeing your customers a certain service level. So if you have to use a VPN to provide your service to your customer, I do not recommend it. VPN for personal use, fine. You know, you may need to download something, you may need to access something while, you know, keeping your location or who you are on the most perfect, you know, that's for personal reasons. But for business, I don't recommend doing anything that you have to hide because, as I said, if you're gonna be going out there and shouting from the top of the mountain, hey, this is who we are, come and buy from us, then you don't want to have any reason to hide or any reason to, you know, be not compliant, you know, with whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm sure Carib Export is a strong proponent of strong and healthy business practices. So we're not going to encourage any, you know, any usage of any platform or any tool that requires the hide. It's going to catch up to you at some point in time, and it is going to mess with your relationship with your customer. That's one of the reasons, guys, why I even stopped using PayPal. You know, just the nature of how they do business and you know, shutting down customers and so forth. It's just not supportive of good business practices, and I just cannot tell customers to trust me when, you know, I have integrated into my offerings an untrustworthy solution. You know, so we have to be very mindful of these things. Would I recommend Shopify as a payment gateway? Shopify is not a payment gateway. Shopify is an e-commerce platform, just like WooCommerce, just like Equid. Is there any other? Squarespace, I think, is a very popular or growing e-commerce platform. These are platforms that require payment gateways to process the payments on their behalf. So with Stripe, with Shopify, out the box, Shopify comes with PayPal and Stripe, and I'm sure a number of other payment platforms that are accessible in the US. I don't remember the names of them off the top of my head right now, but there are quite a number of them out there as Stripe supports, but none directly for the Caribbean and for which is one of the reasons why, you know, Shopify does not integrate well within our Caribbean ecosystem, simply because of the payment headache of connecting with Shopify, right? Which is why we have been encouraging persons to use WordPress as an e-commerce platform. Where Payoneer is concerned, I see the question from April, where Payoneer is concerned. Payoneer is a wallet solution. It does not process payments. However, you can connect Payoneer to a payment processor like Stripe to receive the funds in your Payoneer wallet, and then go to an ATM machine and use your Payoneer card and withdraw the funds, or you can have the monies from your wallet transferred to your local bank account using Payoneer. You know, I'm not sure of all the countries that Payoneer supports, but you could do a quick Google of, you know, just put in Payoneer.
So let me say something. We have Payoneer built into our system. We partner with them. So what Payoneer does is very similar to what Stripe does in terms of opening up a bank account here for you in the United States. So they will send you a debit card to that account as well. And you could use that debit card to shop in the United States, to shop any place that you want, but you also have the ability through their account to transfer your monies to your local banks as well. So they literally open up an account here for you that you can use. And for us, we are tied in with them because it makes the transfer of funds from the United States to any country in the world significantly easier. All they need is your email address, and they'll create that account, and then you could go in and add your local bank account for transfers. They have made it really, really easy.
Thanks for that, Gilbert. So I just did a quick Google of where Pioneer is accepted, and I'm trying to figure out what this map is saying to me. But it seems as if they have global coverage.
Yeah, that's
Is
what
that
the last conversation we had with them. They said they currently have global coverage.
Yeah, they have global coverage, which is good. So, you know, if you were able to access a payment service provider like a Stripe or any other payment processor, that you could connect your Pioneer wallet to that processor to receive the funds after funds are cleared. So all cleared funds will automatically be sent to your Pioneer wallet. And normally the payment processor will send you an email every single time monies are sent from their cleared funds are sent to your wallet. You know, and sometimes I think maybe Pioneer will even give you a notification to let you know that they have received funds from this particular provider, you know, in the wallet as well. I've used them before. I had my Pioneer card for years until I recently changed out my wallet and threw it away because I was not using it. But when I started doing e-commerce in 2015, Pioneer was actually my first solution. It was paired with another payment gateway called 2Checkout. 2Checkout was one of the very few, if not the only, payment service provider at the time that supported Jamaica, right? Let me just do a quick check of this as well. Countries.
Yeah, they were, but then they I don't know, they seem to have just disappeared.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot about them in recent times. But you know, 2Checkout was promoted with Pioneer as a complete solution for collecting payments, right? So again, that's one of them that you can probably check out. Is this the country list? Let's check this one, see if we have it right. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we spend a little bit of time on this because we do know that you know, the payment aspect of e-commerce and also logistics are the two biggest headaches. I mean, whilst we can figure out the logistics, we can't send products anywhere if we're not paid for those products, you know. So, all right, so we're not seeing a clear listing here. I mean, I've seen some normal countries that everybody supports. I'm not seeing an extensive list here right now. And I'm seeing also this be in relation to Verifone. I don't know if Verifone bought them, but 2Checkout I know was one of those options. That's what I started with, 2Checkout and Pioneer as a combination. My only caution, which is coming to Irene's question about the commission, is that you know, it adds up. It adds up when you combine the use of payment processor as with a wallet solution. Why? Because you incur your standard payment processing charge at the point of checkout, you know, where you will be charged anywhere from 3.5 to 4%, depending on, you know, where the card is being used, what currency support. And then the wallet service provider charges you maybe another 2% or so. So, and again, Gilbert, correct me here since you're more current with Pioneer. Do Pioneer charge you to actually receive the funds, or they allow that part for free? I think that's free.
I think that's free. It's a very, very small percent, very very small percentage. The only other fee is when you choose to transfer it from your local US account down to the Caribbean.
Right, from your Pioneer bank.
Correct.
Right.
And that's outside of their hands, so you understand that.
Right. But based on my knowledge of how Pioneer worked, they provided you with the ability to withdraw using a card, which offers a rate of around about 3.5 to 4%. So to have been on top of your already 3.54%, you're looking at possibly 7%. But the transfer rate to your bank account was maybe about half that amount, so maybe about 2%. So in all, if you used a payment processor with a wallet provider like Payoneer to process a transaction, receive the funds in the wallet, and transfer it out to your local account, you may incur a total of maybe about 6 to 7% in total, which I've seen persons work with in the past, even in our here in Jamaica with our own payment facilitation service. It's kind of the same where we act as that go between where persons use Stripe or whichever payment provider. They incur their processing fee and they pay another 2%, 2.5% about to receive the funds, which generally puts them at about 6 to 7% in total transaction fees for a very small business who doesn't want to incur the expense of setting up a payment gateway, paying a monthly fee. They find this quite attractive and workable. And for Irene, who is in Guyana, facing 19% as opposed to 6 or 7%, that's definitely a far more attractive solution and workable solution than what you are currently facing there. But the key here is to access a payment gateway service that you can sign up for, right? And they are popping up every day. The end of the day is to find one that is simply compatible with your jurisdiction. So we know First Atlantic Commerce out of the box supports the entire region. There are these few payment processors in the past that I've interacted with and supported different Caribbean markets in different ways. It's just a matter of doing a little bit more research to find out which one supports your specific country, Guyana. Because I've also seen where PayPal supported St. Lucia in a way where you could actually transfer your monies from PayPal directly to an account in St. Lucia. I had that experience working with a client who was selling eyewear solutions of frames and lenses, and that was their reality. So different Caribbean countries have different advantages and disadvantages when it comes to payment, accessing payment solutions. You have to do some research on your specific country. But these are some of the solutions that are available. I hope that this aspect of it is a lot clearer to you, Irene, and anybody else out there who's just trying to figure out how to make this payment thing work. Yes. All right, good. Let's go back to Kim's Beauty's website. All right, guys. So one of the things we wanted to discuss today was, just how you show up online. As it is right now, we don't have a default, logo or tagline for Kim's Beauty as yet. We may add that for cohort for the second stage of VEAP. But one of the things I wanted us to be very clear on, guys, is when you're setting up an e-commerce website, people must be able to find what you're looking for very easily. We spoke about this last week when we talked about product categorization. But even as simple as landing on the homepage and getting to your products, is something that we need to be very intentional about. So when you're building out your website, try to keep your website very attractive, but also as simple as you can, especially until your users get used to interacting with you and learning about, how to engage online and what are different engagement points, what they can do, what they can't do. They can take time adding more complex features to your to how you show up on your website. Why is this so? Keep in mind that if your demography is of the more progressive, more articulate, more literate, more educated type, people at the end of the day are very simple. They don't want to have to figure out too much. They don't want to have too much work to do to acquire the things that they need. And we're becoming even more spoiled, especially since COVID has taught us that we can stay in our homes and access a lot of the things that we need to innovation drove a lot of, services popping up. I know right now one of the things that may be here to stay is this whole supermarket delivery service, restaurant delivery service. I have a neighbor who is an IT person just like me, and he yesterday I was having a conversation with him, and he said, there are times, there are times of the week when he is locked into his house for 3 days straight. He does not come out. Only way for him to do something like that is to have delivery services at his beck and call, because a man has to eat, have to bathe, the usual, humanly stuff. But COVID has spoiled us as consumers, and the expectation of how businesses serve their customers have evolved over the last 3 to 4 years. It's not how it was in 2018 or 2019. It's very, very different now, which is why everybody has to have a web presence. But not only have a web presence, you need to have a web presence that is easy to maneuver, easy to navigate, and is as people expect it to be. So if your competitors are selling online in this particular way, yes, you may have great ideas about, how you may want them to experience you, but keep in mind that when they're comparing you to other persons in the industry who they may recognize as standard bearers. And if you don't show up like them, you may have difficulties getting that buy-in from them, right? So I want to quickly talk about just, how you structure yourselves to optimize your customer journey, to ensure that persons are able to find things that they want. But I see a question here, or is it a comment from Edmund saying that for payments in the Caribbean, we can try Flutter Wave, debit and credit cards that use Visa or MasterCard, bank transfer, mobile money, QR codes, flutterwave.com. All right, so I'm actually going to copy this out to my URL so I can check this out after today's session has ended. I've learned something new. Again, guys, solution providers are popping up every couple months. Keep your ears on the ground, keep searching, be relentless in your pursuit, because people are out there filling the gaps. We're not the only ones who are identifying the gaps in the market. People are seeing them, and persons are constantly coming up with different ways to solve these problems for persons, right? One of the things I also wanted us to touch on as we're on this topic of payment gateways is that we need to understand that there are two different types of payment gateways as well. There are low risk payment gateway service providers, and then there are high risk payment gateway service providers. Low risk payment gateway service providers are the ones who normally appeal to the mass market and go after high volumes of customers, but have very low tolerance for chargebacks, disputes, and are quicker to shut you down because of these things. They want their business to be very simple, very easy, and don't come with too much administrative overhead. And once your business starts to give them too much administrative overhead, they're going to find themselves in challenges, continuing business with them. This is why they're so aggressive, because they are classified as low risk payment service providers. Then you have high risk payment service. And hold on, low risk payment service providers normally offer their transaction rate starts at like 2.9%, round about there, right? Again, I mentioned to you that they will have these additional charges that they may add on for overseas transactions. If there's currency conversion, those are the two main things. Whether the card is a US card or non-US card, or if it's a conversion being done, they may add a 1 to 0.5%, depending on what the makeup of the transaction looks like. And then you have these high-risk payment service providers who oftentimes are geared towards more regulated industries. So maybe if you wanted to sell things like tobacco online, maybe if it is that you wanted to sell pornographic content online, if it is that you wanted to sell any product, financial solutions, any product that may be deemed as high risk. And I will tell you that, if you look at if you look at, let's do Stripe, prohibited. Let's just do this. Look at Stripe, prohibited businesses, right? And this, when I say prohibited business, it also means products. Each payment gateway who is a low risk payment gateway lists all of the business areas that they have no interest in serving, right? So here I'm saying products and services that infringe on intellectual property rights. So sale and distribution of music, movies, software, licensed material without proper authorization. And proper authorization means that the company that you're selling on behalf of has to provide you with contracts, stamped, signed, everything, you know. Pyramid schemes, also other content, certain types of legal services like law firms, bankruptcy attorneys, bail bonds, firearms, anything related to gambling, marijuana, you know, misuse of products. There are these different things and different terminologies and different descriptions of product services or different makeups of things that are just prohibited or restricted on their platforms. And this is because they do not have the tolerance for this type of thing. So you find that the high risk payment service provider supports some, not all, some of these other business areas that persons may consider as low risk. I've seen where in Jamaica, persons have been shut down by either Stripe or PayPal for simply connecting to a hotel and tourism-based website because they believe that this industry comes with high cancellations. Any industry that comes with high cancellations automatically come with more disputes, more chargebacks, and chargebacks are very expensive for financial institutions, which increases the risk. So you find that high risk payment service providers support these different types of business that are not illegal, are not unethical, but are just not classified as the ideal business for a low risk payment service provider. You know, so you may have to look for a solution provider of that choice. To be honest, I'm not found one that exclusively supports the Caribbean. We were engaging one, I don't remember the name of that company right now. We were engaging one to see if we could leverage their service here in the Caribbean some time ago, but we got distracted by other things. And also the need was not as pressing, maybe as it may be now, you know. But they are solution providers and their rates are also normally more expensive. So you can expect to pay anywhere from 5% to 7% per transaction with these high risk payment service providers. Gilbert, you about to say something?
Yeah, man. So we have engaged several gateways, and just based on the fact that we are operating in the Caribbean, they consider it high risk. Just because we're operating, are you dealing with Caribbean businesses? Yes, high risk. So we had to shop around for quite a while to get payment solutions that actually supported the fact that we're operating in the Caribbean. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a very racist way of viewing the Caribbean. It is. Just by operating in the Caribbean, this says high risk. There's a lot more scrutiny. We have to keep so much more. So even for the businesses, and we get it, right? Even for the businesses that are online with us, like our requirements in terms of the documents that we require from you, know your customer documents. Just in case we get audited or questioned by them, we could say, but all of these businesses are legitimate. And hence, I tell every business that is, anyone that is doing business in the Caribbean, know your suppliers, and as much as possible, know your customers, just in case you get audited for payment solution. They just see us differently.
Yeah. And once you start doing business in high volumes, the bank is automatically going to snoop around. They can't help it. It's their nature. You know, you're seeing, you know, if it's small transactions, small business, you know, they ignore you until you start seeing millions of dollars coming through their account. They don't want to know if you're funneling money, if you're doing any laundering, if you have real contracts, real relationships. with the persons who you say you're doing business with. So, and that's why I encourage person, hey, once you go into e-commerce, just be above board with everything that we're doing. Because at some point in time, if we're successful at it, we will have to justify what we're doing and how we're doing it. All right. So I just wanted to highlight that, you know, there are different types of payment solutions out there. They incur different rates for the risk that they incur, because payments is a risk business. And that is why, you know, the low risk providers are so aggressive in protecting themselves. And that's really what they're doing, protecting themselves from risky situations. You know, so we may complain about it and we may have issues, but there's a reason why they do what they do. Best believe that, you know, Stripe, PayPal, all of them would love to take all of our monies if they could. But for different reasons, we're classified, whether by industry or by region, you know, high risk or low risk, and treated accordingly. So, you know, just by the very nature of where we live, where we do business, we have these nuances to deal with, right? And we just have to be very clear about that. But it's also good to know that, you know, if it is that a low risk service provider is not working out, then they can search for a high risk service provider that may be tolerable to the nature of business that you're doing and also the region that you're operating from. All right, I hope that was very clear. So, you know, maybe in your spare time, again, Irene from Guyana and anybody else who operates within Caribbean space that, you know, find the prices, policies, or processes related to getting into e-commerce draconian can, you know, consider some of these alternatives. Sometimes it's just a simple Google, but sometimes we just don't know what to look for, you know. So you can search for high-risk payment service providers that maybe support the country or support the Caribbean, or just search for high-risk service providers. And when you engage with them, you know, verify whether or not your country can be supported, and you figure it out from there, right? Again, the good thing as well is that there are wallet service providers that can help you to collect your funds, like Payoneer, if it is that, you know, you're a Caribbean country, but leveraging some of the tools that are based in the US, right? You can use that to access your monies and get it into your bank accounts, right? Coming back to Kim's Beauty's website interface, as I mentioned, for us, you know, we've kind of come up with a strategy, a solution, an out-the-box way of doing e-commerce websites that allows any small business to get online now and be able to do business in a simple yet easy manner. This is exactly what our typical websites look like. If you look at examples like Rev Jewelry, if you look at IMMA, these are the guys from St. Lucia. If you look at Barclays Wood, let me see if I can remember Azan's Direct. Azan's Direct. Just to show you a few examples of how this comes to life for different types of brands. So here we have Rev Jewelry, again using a similar style. These guys are making handmade products, right? You know, welcome, shop now. Of course, they're showcasing their different product categories. IMMA looks a little bit different, but similar concept nonetheless. You know, they have a hero image, or let's allow this to load, right? A set of hero slide images, you know, with your shop now buttons. Then you have her product categories, or the main categories: men, women, unisex. Then they have some product displays for products that are featured, new, or on sale, right? Barclays Wood, Jamaica, all in. Okay, this website here. And I have another example, Azan's Direct. Again, very similar. These guys are selling appliance and furniture. And again, it's very similar. They don't allow it at a personal website, but they use it as an online catalog to display the types of products that they sell, and also the brands that they carry. And okay, I see that you're also doing testimonials as well, which is very good, right? So there's the same type of template you'll notice that we're using right across the board for these different brands, and we use it because it works. You know, you land persons on your website, you're able to showcase right away a general idea of what you do. As I see here for Bartley's Wood, they specialize in anything wood made, and then you go down into your product category so persons can easily find what you're looking for. So it's the same thing that we've done with Kim's Beauty, of course, you know, a rougher version, because it's a work in progress and we're working it as we're doing it. And as I mentioned, that's what would be the aim of this exercise, to build it together, right? So last week, a week before rather, we entered our product categories and did all that. We now have added some images to those product categories. And then once you click on any of these product categories, of course, it brings you to that product category page. So if we had a long list of products there, then we will be able to come and see it. You know, if you notice, we have not added any images as yet for the products themselves, but at least we're able to see how we transition from home page to finding the respective product, and then you can add to cart and check out accordingly. Also, one of the things that we've done as a standard practice for persons who take this particular type of solution is, instead of having a contact us page, what we do is we have a contact bar at the bottom of that, at the bottom of the screen, that is accessible on any page. Oftentimes, you know, we see something and we want to make contact about it right away. We don't necessarily want to go to a different page to be able to do that. You know, with this, it follows you right through the website. So whether you're on the shop page, you're in the product page, putting the information, the contact bar is there. You know, all of this is clickable. So you can click on call, click on email, click on WhatsApp, find location, all of these. Sorry about this, guys. Right. All of these are clickable. All of these resources are clickable. And everybody hear me still, right? Gilbert, you still hear me, right? Let's check in.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Right, so all of these buttons are clickable. So once you're on a page and you want to make a call, for us guys, when you're executing an e-commerce website, there are the two most important things, you know, must be easy and simple, made easy and simple. You must make it easy for persons to do business with you from a commercial perspective, meaning that they're able to find your website, they're able to find the products, they're able to purchase easily. And when I say purchase easily, it also includes things like being able to find to have multiple payment methods being available to you to make payment, right? Let me see here if this, okay, so this was actually updated while we were on the call. All right, so this is one of the reasons why we actually like to use. I just want to show this to you for those for whom it applies. There's a solution called PayPal Checkout for those who have access to use PayPal, where you're able to actually use PayPal without a PayPal account. And the benefit to that is that it allows you to pay with your credit card without having to sign in. So you notice here you have this PayPal button where it comes and it asks you to log in to your account, right? But on the previous page, and we can switch out this button, of course, to have the checkout option there, where you can click PayPal to pay directly from your PayPal account, or you can click on debit or credit card, and what it does, it just drops down a credit card payment form for you to actually put in your credit card information and just click continue and click pay. Beautiful thing about this solution is that you don't have to log into an account. You're not required to have a PayPal account to complete the payment process, right? So this is one of the things that we do enable for persons who use PayPal as a payment method on your website, the checkout option, which allows you to circumvent having a PayPal account to use it, right? But just coming back to what I was mentioning earlier, that you have to enable you have to ensure there are two things prominently enabled on your website. One, the ability to do business, to find the products, ability to make payments, so supporting multiple payment options like cash, bank transfer, credit card, and then also facilitating easy communication. So having the contact bar here, or having like your your phone numbers. Let me see if I remember. One, did I bring this up with? Let's check if we take a look at. Let's take a look at First Heritage. There's another client that we did some work for. What's your name? Boulevard. Sure. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of a client's website that we did that actually doesn't even have a contact page. Yesterday I was looking through it to showcase this to somebody, and I realized that this actual website did not even have a contact page because of how it was built. What they pretty much did was to ensure that all the contact information is available to you in the header of the email. So you don't have to go anywhere. Once the page loads, automatically you know exactly how to contact them, when to contact them, where to find them, all these different things. You understand? So there are different ways to go about enabling easy contact. You can have a contact page, you can have pop-ups on your website, or you can just have a simple contact bar similar to what we did here with Kim's Beauty, right? And of course you can retract it, bring it down so it's not in the way and so forth, right? Any questions on this element of things? You know, as I said, for us, you know, once you're selling any product, any service online, for me, this is the starting point. From here on, we can go on and add landing pages, we can add blogs, we can add pop-ups, anything at all can go on top of this. But this right here is the base, it's a foundation for selling online, the ability to showcase your business so people can identify what it is that you sell, ability to find the products, ability to check out how your products delivered and have the necessary costs associated to it being added when you put in your address, and just being able to submit the order, whether or not you're making a credit card payment or not. You know, this is the base, the foundation, and then of course being able to easily make contact with the company at hand. Any questions on this before we wrap up here and move on to the other track? Gilbert, is there anything that you want to add before we move over?
No, this is good. It's really good.
Great. I know there were a lot of questions about payment gateways. Are there any more questions about payment gateways related to your specific country or related to your experience? If you've ever been shut down before, how did you get around that? Feel free at this point in time, guys, to unmute, ask any questions, make any statements, anything at all. If we have found success with a payment gateway, who did we use? So for example, I may want to ask, I don't know if Planting Seeds, I don't know if Planting Seeds is online. I don't know if Shop Carib, the Shop Carib or is Shop Carib is online. Anybody who is currently online with payment gateway installed, who are you currently using? I want to ask that question before we close out this segment. Anybody at all who is online right now using a payment gateway, who are you using? Love to hear that. And which country you're in. Anybody at all, please. Let's share the wealth of information here so other persons can benefit from this information, this formula that you found. Anybody at all on the call that has integrated a payment gateway that is working for them, who did you get it from?
And one of the other things that I would like to add, just a slight addition, is one of the things that we do is we have multiple gateways. I know the thing is you don't get charged unless there's a transaction for most of them. But for the ones that we have, there's no charge unless there's a transaction. But having a single point of failure when you're doing e-commerce is not a good thing. So we have multiple payment gateways built in just in case something happens. That payment gateway fails, that payment gateway no longer functions, their account gets frozen, automatically you switch over to the next and you keep processing.
Right, that's a good pointer. You know, as we did mention, payment gateways can be very fickle with their relationship with customers. These guys behave as if they don't owe us anything, or they don't value the service sometimes, but for them it seems to be all about us managing their risk, and that's all they really care about. For that reason, once they find you to be in breach or find you to be of a high risk nature, their actions can sometimes be very draconian, which leaves you kind of dead in the waters, you know, without a solution to do your business. Especially imagine if you're in the middle of a high season or promotion and it gets shut down, it can be very catastrophic, you know. The benefit, however, yeah, go ahead, Gilbert.
And the reasons for changing their policies are crazy. Like we were with Stripe for a number of years, and we were doing pretty well with Stripe. And then Stripe reached out to us, and luckily they reached out to us and they said, "Listen, we're gonna have to close your account within the next week or two." So I said, "Why?" Well, they say our board of directors have changed and we have become more conservative. That was their reason for changing the account. That was it, done. Nothing fraudulent on our part. It's just that they're board more conservative and they see the Caribbean as much more risky and they no longer support that account. I'm sure by now they would have changed again, or their policies may have changed, given the whole onset of digital transformation. So yeah, that was it. It doesn't take a whole lot for them to close your account.
I had the same experience as well. As I say, we do have a payment facilitation service here in Jamaica that we offer, that we are redesigning right now. We started to do the Stripe. We onboarded maybe about 30 to 50 customers. It was doing extremely well. And then all of a sudden, accounts just started to get shut down. And I knew it was simply because of Stripe's growth. Stripe was young, competitive, aggressive at the time when we formed that relationship. When they started shutting down things, they were more mature, had gotten more into the market, was expanding, and also had to become far more compliant than they were before with whatever rules and regulations, govern how they operate. And one by one, they started to see accounts being shut down. So we're only left with a few, and up to now, I'm not even sure why we were still left with those few. There's like maybe just a handful that are still left operating right now, and I honestly cannot tell you why they have left those ones alone, because others, it was, as Gilbert says, not a matter of being in breach or being fraudulent or having a high cancellation or dispute rate or anything like that. It's just really about regulations and policy. So guys, we have absolutely nobody on this call today who has a payment gateway integrated on their website. Roxanne, are you hearing me? From Shop Carib? Are you able to unmute?
Yes, I'm in.
Yeah. Are you using a payment gateway right now on your website?
Yes, FAC, out of Bermuda.
So you're operating out of Bermuda and you're using First Atlantic?
Yes, First Atlantic.
Okay. So First Atlantic is working for you out of Bermuda. And what has been your experience like working with them in terms of
responsiveness?
Just doing business with them. What has been your experience like?
No. I mean, we've worked with them for quite a number of years with our web development. But on the e-commerce side for Shop Carib, no, it's been pretty seamless. We have officers who are assigned to us at particular levels, and the feedback, they work with us, work very closely with us on an ongoing basis. They're always willing to help, you have, like when people process credit card payments, you would get certain, response levels. So if it's a response code 2, you know what it is. Response 3, you know what it is. So they have their systems very, very well worked out. So it's been very useful for us.
You have not incurred any instance of your service being paused, shut down, or unnecessarily investigated for any reason, right?
No,
Right.
no.
That has been also my experience. With
Yeah,
First
First Atlantic is they're very understanding that the business is operating in the Caribbean and the challenges. That's one thing you can give them, right? They're very, very understanding of the Caribbean culture.
Right.
Mhm.
So
And I think I was looking at that, you know, you had a Pioneer a little while ago, one Stripe, and all those are great, but I think you always want that affinity. You want to do work with a company who kind of understands where we're coming from. You know, we're
Right.
coming from a kind of strange place where things that don't always work as they're supposed to. So at least FEC kind of understands that. So that's good.
Right. So going back to Gilbert's point about having multiple payment gateways, the US-based ones are very finicky. I find that First Atlantic, I don't know if it is that they are using less advanced solutions to manage their risk, or is it that they just have a stronger appetite for the risk that comes to the Caribbean, why they don't trouble persons? But just even using the payment gateway and multiple websites and just a lot of things that seem prohibitive with the Stripes and Papers of the world are just simply ignored by First Atlantic Commerce, which works in our favor. So I found that First Atlantic Commerce feels a little bit safe as a Caribbean entity. All persons who I know who use them don't have much negatives to say about doing business with them in terms of being shut down or being, tightly controlled and so forth. Of course, if you're doing business above board, and have nothing to worry about, and if you choose to do otherwise, then you will have things to worry about, and that's natural with any business here. But once you're doing your business in an upstanding way, which we all encourage persons to do, then you find that you have very little issues with First Atlantic Commerce. So I also wanted to verify that, other persons who are on the call were having this experience, and also if there were any other solutions that were working for persons here.
So
Just
one
one
piece-
element, just
Go ahead.
one thing I could add though, sorry, is about, of course, First Atlantic is processing only credit cards. So, when we start to move into all these digital wallets, debit cards, processing, that is a little jump that they may need to make, or that we'll have to find a provider who could process payments like that.
Quick question on that note. Visa, Master debit cards, are you having any challenges processing transactions with those instruments?
We do MasterCard, Visa card, not American Express.
Okay, no, what I'm asking is, there's a difference between the Visa, MasterCard, debit cards versus credit cards, right?
Right, so that's it. We only process with credit card.
Not debit.
And so I'm saying, as the world evolves, people want to be able to process with a debit card,
Debit. Right, right,
and that is a little challenge now.
right.
So two things with that, right? The Europeans predominantly use debit cards. They seldom use credit cards. So if you're looking at the European market, that is going to be a challenge. And one of the other things that we're doing, and I know, is because of our proximity, the Caribbean's proximity to the United States, we tend to look within the United States for solutions, right? But for us, we are now exploring, we are actually in the process of doing business registration in Ireland and one other place. I will get that for you guys by next session, where you can actually do a digital citizenship in a European country, primarily for business. And then you are exposed to significantly more and better payment processing services. But I promise I'll have the details of that one for you by next session. I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
Okay, thanks for that, Gilbert.
So that's a very
yes.
good point, Gilbert. Just that European element that you're talking about there, that's a very, very good point. We've been looking at that, Europe UK, Italy, even Netherlands as markets to go after. And you're right, you know, the customer who was trying to shop the other day was from the UK with a debit card. So it's
Yeah,
just, you know,
predominantly.
yeah.
Predominantly, and for many years, the European
Mhm.
e-commerce market was predominantly cash on delivery. But
Right.
they do not want to, they are much more conscientious shoppers. They do not, the American economy is built on debt, right? The European is not in the same way. So they tend to use debit cards because they would not shop unless they know they have that money in their account. Right? The American economy is a very consumer driven by debt. So even if we don't have the money in our account, we still want it and we'll buy it. And we'll try to figure out how we pay for it later. But the Europeans are very conscious as consumers. They rather pay knowing that they have money in their account. So, and again, for anyone here who's looking to do e-commerce transactions, the fees associated with debit card transactions are usually significantly cheaper than if you use credit cards. And if you're accepting just credit cards. So even for you, Roxanne, as when you start getting into accepting debit cards, you'd realize that the transaction fees are significantly less.
So
Go
thanks
ahead,
for that.
Andrea.
Yeah, man, thanks for that
Oh,
information.
I thank you very much for this discussion. This is my Achilles heel, actually, processing the payments and the various processes involved. But I had an experience just a few days ago that I returned I returned a product. I asked for a refund of a product that didn't arrive. My mailbox in Jamaica hasn't seen it, and it has been a month. They refunded it and it got to my account in minutes. How is that possible? I would love to know what payment what could facilitate that, and if I could consider using that gateway. It's on Amazon. So it happened on Amazon. And I'd love to know how they got it back into my account, my bank account, so swiftly.
Your bank account was a Jamaican account or US account?
NCB, yes, NCB, National Commercial Bank, Jamaican dollar account.
So here's the thing, right? Whenever a transaction is, and anyone who's e-commerce can tell you that whenever a transaction takes place on your website, that money is transferred to your account relatively quickly. Sometimes they tell you, the clearinghouse tell you 48 hours, but often I know on our site, that money shows up in our account within a matter of minutes and hours. Amazon, on the other hand, Amazon has their own payment gateways. And they also have a significant amount of money on hand where they can do those transfers as quickly as they want. They're in full control of this process from end to end. So if you notice, they have their own logistics.
So it's not the vendor.
No, it's not the vendor. No,
It's
no,
Amazon's infrastructure.
It's Amazon. It's Amazon. Yeah, who control every step. And that's a challenge for us in the Caribbean, right? Because consumers begin to expect that from us, not understanding that Amazon controls every aspect of their solution: payment, logistics, warehousing, every aspect. So they could do those things really quickly. And for us in the Caribbean, no, it's not possible. Not at this point in time.
In today's world, Amazon is first a technology company before it is anything else.
It is.
Amazon provides a lot of technology services, even to very large companies and even other tech companies out there. You know? So we have to understand that when you're dealing with Amazon, you're dealing with
so no, don't say that then. So they've offered us Amazon Pay, but I remember one of our earlier sessions here, you said you ruled out Amazon Pay. Is it that I should consider using Amazon Pay?
Yes, I would say yes, right? But for me, and you guys know that I've said this from the beginning, and this is not just because I see them as a potential competitor in the space eventually, but it's just because of Amazon practices. How many of you guys remember diaper.com?
Remember what?
Diaper.com was diaper.com. It was a company. Yes, it was a big company that sold diapers only. Amazon saw what they were doing, went to them and say, hey, why don't we buy you guys? And the guy from diaper.com, somebody that I know personally, he was like, no, we're not selling, this is where we are and we're going to continue to do this. Bezos decided that we're going to start selling diapers. And they sold diapers under cost. If they were paying $100 a diaper, they sold the diapers for $80. They lost $100 million selling diaper just to kill diaper.com. And then they rose the price, they drive the price way above. And then they bought out diaper.com, yes, eventually, because they needed their logistic systems. So, and then this is one of the fears of using Amazon. If you're moving products that are being sold well, they have access to all of your data. And they will compete against you in that space. This has happened more than once. That's my concern about using Amazon. So you may go in now and get some good money, but then I don't see longevity being there for you.
Yeah, but for those of us, Gilbert, who may not be familiar with Amazon Pay, what exactly is Amazon Pay and how does it work?
So it's a seamless solution, right? So all you do is you slap a button on your account, just like how you do a PayPal button. And it's using an account that you already signed up with Amazon. So, and it primarily uses people who already have Amazon accounts. So I have an Amazon account as a personal account. And if you put that Amazon button on your website, once I click on it, it will automatically ask me to log in. It takes money from my credit card that's already registered with Amazon, take the money from that, and then they will transfer the money to you.
So this is a consumer solution or a business solution?
It is both, right? It is both for like, if you have a business and then you just want to put Amazon up a button there, it's great. Because again, as I say, it's me as a consumer, I don't have to worry about giving this unknown website my credit card information. I'm using a solution that's already in place. I'm just signing into Amazon. Amazon takes the money from my account, from my credit card, and then they transfer the money to whoever the website is. I'm surprised they're actually offering it to you in Jamaica.
Repeat? Oh, you're surprised they offer it to Jamaica. Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're offering it to Andrea, yes.
Yeah, Andrea,
I'm
what did
wondering
they
then,
offer
since you're
that to
saying
you
that
as a
now,
Jamaican?
I'm also registered in the US. So I'm wondering if you're offering it to me as a US based or
Probably
as a
because it's US
Jamaican.
based. Yes, probably
Okay.
because it's US based, yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. So Gilbert, what you're saying is that similar to how we have the PayPal button on the product page, you could have an Amazon button that brings you to the Amazon website to complete the purchase.
Correct.
That's a part of the Amazon Pay system.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, they're trying to dominate the entire thing. Yeah, you see it.
Okay. All right. So that's some clarity for that. Any other questions, guys, on the payment solutions? I know that again, this area is the area of biggest headache in the Caribbean.
This and logistics. This and logistics, payments and logistics.
I say you can't ship where you not collect from first. So the payment is that number one. Statistics follows right behind, right? So there's a great need to fill that gap, but as Gilbert said, good thing is that there are a number of facilitator type solutions like marketplaces helping to plug that in the meantime. And there are I see it was Edmund who posted Flutterwave in the group. Let's check that out. Maybe there's some answers there as well. But we'll definitely share any additional resources that we find that could be of benefit to you as a e-commerce person looking for payment solutions to get your business more streamlined and on point, right? All right, so we've spent quite a bit of time on the technical setup track. We're gonna jump now back into track 3, which focuses on, launching or doing e-commerce campaigns for your products and services, and we encourage similar discourse and conversations around, how all of this comes together. So last week, let me just move my page into presentation mode so that we all can see very clearly. Here we are. All right, so last week we talked about market segments, key selling points, and also pathways to sale. And we were able to agree that different businesses will have different customer pathways to sale. So you'd have seen me show a while ago an example of how Kim's Beauty comes to market with the solution, and what that potential path would look like. So in this case, we would have persons landing on Kim's Beauty's homepage, then they would click shop now or a category, or select a category, and then review their product, add it to cart, and then check out. Very similarly to what we have here, in this document, persons would interact with a lead generation solution or channel. They landed on the website, find themselves to the product page, add the product to cart and check out. However, as we know, not all business models are this simple. Some of them require, different steps along the way. And I think it was very clear to me that you guys understood how to organize your customer path to sale so that you can convert the traffic that you receive from your campaigns. Now let's talk about the actual activities that you need to execute, and how do you execute these activities, considering the resources that you have to offer. At the end of the day, guys, when it comes to marketing, you cannot market without a budget. We've all tried it, I'm sure, at some point in time to just freestyle and see where it goes. At the end of the day, it does cost us something to market. I'm not talking about time either. Unless it is that we're just sending broadcasts and using free email resources and using things like social media posts. But generally, as a business person who is looking to scale their business, scale operations, when you start to add marketing to those operations, scalability is one of the #1 things that you want to achieve. You want to increase sales, you want to increase production, you just want to increase overall productivity and revenue of your business. For us to be able to do this, we have to be able to come up with a plan that makes sense, right? So we start first and foremost with understanding what budget we have to work with when creating these campaigns, right? And the budget directly impacts our ability to use different lead generation channels. Now, if let's say, for instance, you have $1,000 to spend in advertising and lead generation, then you can split that $1,000 across the entire customer journey, from lead generation to different tactics that happen on your website. And when we say we split that spend, meaning that spend is going to go into either advertisements, creating marketing collateral like graphic ads, video ads, GIF ads, or maybe it is that you get a website developer to create a stunning landing page for your website, add some pop-ups, things like that. At the end of the day, guys, executing an effective e-commerce campaign really and truly starts with the ability for you to come with a budget for what you are going to need to spend to achieve the results that you want to achieve. Normally, you have a campaign coming up as part of campaign planning. You have a goal in mind. Maybe you want to sell X number of products, and these are sales campaigns we're talking about, not just brand campaigns where we want people to know about us. We want persons to actually buy, right? And when we want persons to buy, it's say money makes money, right? When you want persons to buy, sometimes you have to spend a little budget in getting organized and just being operating at a certain level when it comes to your e-commerce campaign execution. To be able to effectively do so, we have to look at, all right, what as we talked about earlier in this slide, where can our customers be found? How are we going to find our customers so that we can market and promote to them at the time when they are most likely to buy or considering to use a service that we have to offer, right? So, we look at the offline locations, look at the online locations, and, we need to come with a budget as to how we're going to approach this. As you have noticed here, even in the lead generation channels, we do have provision for the offline. Sometimes the offline is simply your store location or your office location. Sometimes your offline execution is you leaving flyers at a coffee shop, at a restaurant, at another salon, at a store, or maybe you just fly your cars in a parking lot. Say we're selling corporate solutions and we visit a business district. And put flyers in a car, assuming that most persons who are parked in this particular space are actually corporate persons, So these are some things that we could consider. All right, I see Philip has a comment in the chat. So that if you have outstanding documentation from your marketplace platform choice, please send by end of the week. All right, so that's a little announcement. If you have outstanding documentation from the marketplace platform of choice, please send it in by end of this week, right? So coming back to our channels, as I say here, everything comes down to what we can afford. So these are some of the out the box or things within the box that you can automatically execute, just quick wins, quick solution that you can draw for. It doesn't mean you can't add more. You can't come up with something innovative, something that may be different, or maybe it is how you use this particular solution. So you could look at social media. I could say, all right, I'm going to run ads. I'm going to post. I'm going to get social media influencers. I'm going to also run a social media competition where I do a giveaway. And all of these things come to make up your budget, So it doesn't have to be one thing on YouTube. It could be a YouTube ad. It could be creating YouTube content to drive engagement with your YouTube channel. Again, there are so many different ways that persons are, trying to be innovative. Sometimes maybe it's collaborating with another YouTube content creator, I don't know, or influencer in that space, So we have to determine what campaign channels, promotional channels we are going to use to execute our campaign. Whether it is that we know some persons will be considering doing a brand campaign out there to let persons know that, hey, we are here, and this is what we have to sell. Another person who will focus on pushing a particular product category. Saying, hey, we have this great product over here, come and buy it, right? Regardless of which one you choose, we have to first and foremost determine how much do we have to spend based on what we want to achieve. And, we always have, for the most part, less money than we would want to, especially when compared to what we want to achieve. But we also have to find a way to make it work and also to make it be reasonable, especially for those of us who maybe, not necessarily the company owner in this case, but more so a team member, and have to justify to your manager why you're choosing this channel, why are you spending this amount of money, what is the expected rate of return on the investment, right? Because at the end of the day, we have to come also with KPIs, and it ends, of course, with your total sales, customers, repeat customers, and so forth. At the end of the day, that's what a manager will want to see. All right, how much sales are you targeting, and what's the budget that you're going to use to target that sales? And then, of course, after you come with the budget, how is that broken out to support each campaign channel, right? So we're gonna quickly talk about what that looks like from a planning perspective. This is a high-level plan, not necessarily breaking down the details of the campaign. So in the case of Kim's Beauty is doing, guys, I'm gonna ask you to give me 2 minutes, please, to get some water. My voice is cracking. 2 minutes, please. Gilbert, I don't know if you want to listen. All right. Guess we didn't need all of 2 minutes after all, eh? All right. So as I was saying, we have to be able to justify why we're doing what we're doing to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. All right. So in the case of Kim's Beauty launching its business, its primary mandate in this case would be to let as much people as possible know that Kim's Beauty exists, and this is what we're known for, right? And if we say, all right, let's assign a campaign budget of maybe say $1,000, right? Oops. Let's say okay, good, we're going into the editable version of the display. So let's type up $1,000, right? Would be the total money that we have to spend. Now we need to figure out how are we going to spend this money. All right. So for me, I always like to use social media for mass awareness. You know, if I want some to do something that I need everybody to know, not just a select few or a part of the demographic or a market segment. I want everybody to know about this thing. For me, social media is that digital alternative to newspaper, TV, and radio, right? So I would want to run some campaigns on social media, and in coming up with my budget for that channel, I have to look at the cost to create the marketing material as well as the cost to run an ad. Now you can choose to just post on your social media page. Suppose you are a business who has 20,000 followers, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. You may not need to run an ad because you already have a strong following, right? So in this case, your budget would only be the cost to create the advertising or the marketing material. Let's say, for instance, you pay somebody $50 USD to create a nice artwork for you. Then, you know, if you have a social media page with a lot of followers, you may not need to spend on your other budget. But let's say, for instance, you want to maximize, and again, you know, as I mentioned, if you don't remember, I mentioned that, you know, when you're running campaigns, you want to run campaigns for a minimum of at least 6 weeks. It can go up to 3 months, 4 months before it becomes stale or before you start seeing a drop off in person's interest or responsiveness to the campaign. But you know, let's say we're going to assign $100 to this particular initiative. Or let's say we do $300. So I want everybody to know, right? And we're doing 3 months, so $100 per month across both Instagram and Facebook. When it's a social media, normally include Instagram, Facebook, you know, Twitter, you know, LinkedIn to a lesser extent. Or personally, Facebook and Instagram are the #1 picks because their ad manager is very easy to use, and those are the 2 platforms that have the most users, right? There's also the ability nowadays to link your WhatsApp to these campaigns. So if it's that you want to run a campaign on social media that allows persons to message you on WhatsApp, you can link that in these days. And some of the times, up to last night, I was in my WhatsApp business just poking around some features and remember that I can actually run campaigns from my WhatsApp. So I can run a social media campaign from my WhatsApp. Why can I do this? Because the same company owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That's the reason why, right? Because of this group of companies, it gives you the most powerful reach for advertising right across the board, right? So I like to use social media promotions for mass marketing purposes. And if I was to create a campaign budget for my social media channels, this would come at $50 for creating the ad and $300 for the ad budget. So I'd have a total campaign budget of $350, right, for that campaign. And that's $250 out of my $1,000, right? Then I'll say, all right, YouTube is my next best mass marketing option. This is like replacing TV ads, right? And I said, you know, I'm going to spend $100 over here. Where, for example, I have to create the ad, and creating a video ad is far more expensive than creating a still ad or a GIF ad. But let's put, say, $100 for argument's sake, or even say $200, right? Then I can spend another, say, $150 on promoting this on in ad budget, in promoting it on YouTube, right? And now I'm at $350 out of my $1,000, so $700 is now gone, right? Again, for mass marketing, I could also choose to use that Google Display as an alternative. If I'm going to be using Google Display, I'm going to have to create different variations of my social media image. Google Display normally comes, let me share with you guys an example of this, Jamaica Observer. Google Display, how that works is that it allows you to display artwork, advertisements on the Google network. And on the Google network, what do I mean? Like Google have placements on popular website assets that have a lot of traffic that allows you to benefit from that traffic. So, you know, Jamaica Observer is one of those websites that do optimize their website to position Google-based ads and, you know, just get that buying. But it's an example of what these Google ads look like. You notice that there's a banner here for this student loan bureau. You notice that there are some flow ads flanking the left and right, and you can scroll on some more as well. Here's another one, let's travel Caribbean.com. There's another one down here about, you know, again, another flow ad. Here's another one right here. Again, these are all Google ad spots, right? So you can actually have these as, again, see another one here on your source. Now, why would I do this along with our over Facebook advertising? Right, as I said, I want to reach as much people as is possible. And the Jamaica Observer website is one of the most used websites for news in Jamaica. There are two major tabloid companies or media companies there that specialize in news, paper printing, and I've got digital. These are the Observer and Jamaica Gleaner, right? I'm sure that Jamaica Observer gets at least 1 million to maybe 5 million hits per month of persons just visiting the website. So as you can imagine, this again would be a good mass market approach that complements what you're doing on social media. But the difference is that the display of the images here, you notice, are different from the normal dimensions on social media. So when I come here and I create a artwork for social media, it's normally going to be in a landscape display or portrait, and I'm going to hope that we all understand what these things mean. It's really just the dimension, the size, the layout of the artwork that is used on the social media feed. So you'll notice that when you're scrolling through your feed, sometimes this is some pictures or some videos that take up the entire screen, right? That's the dimension of that particular artwork that was created. When you're doing a Google display, you'll have to create variations of that artwork that fit within these specific spaces, right? So most times the person who creates an ad for social media will charge you a smaller fee to give you a few variations for the Google ad sizes, right? So let's say, for instance, this person said, all right, you know what, for since we've already done the flyer for $50, I'm going to charge you $20 for these variations, and then I'm going to add maybe say $50 to this ad budget just to get it out there. Or let's use a more rounded number. Let's say we say $80, which gives us a total of $100 for this particular campaign channel, right? And then we have Google search. Now, Google search is not a mass market approach. Google search is the opposite of being doing mass marketing, where on social media, YouTube, and Google Display, you're pushing content to persons out there, regardless of their interests and what they're doing. With Google search, it's more a responsive display of your ad to persons' interest in a particular need, right? So if I come here to Google and I type beauty services in Montego Bay, Jamaica, let's see if we have any ads here. All right, so we don't have any ads for this particular demographic. You know what this means, guys? What this means, is that if Kim's Beauty was supposed to start running ads on this keyword, persons who are searching for beauty services in Montego Bay, she would be the only person up here ranking, which is golden for persons who are in industries that don't regularly run ads on social media. Now, if you were to type in a hotel, I'm going to give you an example of the opposite. If you type in a hotel in Montego Bay, Jamaica, you're gonna see some amount of ads. Hold on, what am I? Hold on, let me choose something else. Hotels. All right, let me put travel services. Oh no, I'm wrong. So here we are. I probably wasn't seeing it before. So you see the sponsored label coming up on the first few results, and you're gonna find it. You may find it also at the bottom. See here at the bottom, sponsored, right? So you're gonna find sponsored posts. So this is a more competitive space for Google search ranking, right? But when you're typing in, let's try hair salons to see it in something different. Hair salons in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Right? We have nobody running any ads on hair salons. So this is a very advantageous opportunity for Kim's Beauty to run ads in this space, because anybody who is looking for a hairstyle who may not have a hair salon would automatically find her listing first, simply because of that advertisement, right? So just coming back.
Leighton, you there?
Google search allows you to find. Yes, I'm here. Are you hearing me?
No, yeah.
Guys, are you hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead now, Leighton.
Okay, great. Right, so I was saying that Google search allows persons to find you when they are looking for solutions of your nature. So for me, I always run Google search ads, because persons who are looking for a solution is different from somebody who is just browsing the internet going about their business. It's a much warmer lead, it's a more interested lead, and it is the lead that will most likely make a purchase right now if they find a supplier that meets their criteria, right? So for me, I always like to run, and for Google Ads, my Google Ads never, ever stop running, no matter what. Always is running in the background. So let's say we assign that $50 to this campaign. Now, the greatest thing about Google Ads is that it's all text-based. You will notice here that there's no image, there's no video behind this listing. This is the ad that is being placed, right? Don't pay attention to the image. The image is being probably pulled from the website or so, right? This is the ad, the URL, the name that is being used in the blue underline, and also the description and all other sublinks that are placed below. This is what makes up that. So there's no creative budget for it really, unless you're paying somebody to come up with copy or come up with content for that particular ad. But if you're doing it yourself, then you only incur that $50 cost, right? So just type that in, 50. So where are we now? We are now at what, 900? So we're at 750, 850, $900. So we're almost there, right? And then I may choose to spend the additional $100 on my Instagram pages. So for instance, I'll give you an example here. I don't know if it will come up. Let's try it, Instagram. Let's try it and see if it displays what I'm referring to in the stories or on pages. Let's see who I'm logged in as today. Right, so I don't know if I will get in, but let me try something and see if it works. All right, so this is already information I'm not sure about. All right, so that's not going to work. All right, let's forget that. Your story, you guys hear me? I think I dropped off a while ago. You guys hear me? Gilbert, everybody?
Yeah, hearing you.
Okay, good. Right. So Instagram, so there are these pages, some of the times bloggers do it, or pages that have hundreds of thousands of views will sell advertisement spots on their pages, right? They may put it in their post or they may put it in their story. The same ad that you created for social media can be reused here. So you won't incur any additional creative budget. What you're doing is paying for the placement. And this is where we'll add that final $100 that makes up my $1,000 campaign, right? And that's pretty much how my budget will come together. In this case, I would not spend too much on blogging because I'm trying to find new persons. I'm just sensitizing them to my business. SMS, again, in Jamaica, we do have an SMS service that allows us to send messages to the digital database of customers to promote products, but in most countries that is not available. They use SMS, you'd have to send it to a list of persons who you already have access to, right? And we're not trying to necessarily reach persons who already know or who know about us, we're trying to reach new persons. Email marketing would be the same. We would have to upload a list of existing contacts. Again, we're trying to reach new persons. Now, we could use this email list. I'm going to assume that, Nicholas is brand new, so you don't have any emails. You don't have any customers, you don't have any database to work with. We're just trying to reach new people who do not know anything at all about us. So this is how we'd have to structure the campaign from a budgetary perspective, so that we can then go ahead and create the necessary graphics and have these graphical contents uploaded into the campaign manager for disbursement, right? And all of this is focused 100% on just generating leads, getting persons to visit your website. Any questions on this area? No questions, all right. See somebody unmute to speak?
Yes, sir. I just want to be certain, Mino from Guyana. You just mentioned that if you don't have the other social media, but you could use this SMS marketing to send text to your customers and all that to other countries. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, okay. So with SMS, there are two ways to use SMS marketing. The first is that if you have a list of persons who have done business with you before, or a list of prospects or a list of customers, and you have their phone numbers, this could very well be from your own phone book, you can actually use SMS systems to run a campaign to those customers, send out text messages to them, letting them know you have a promotion or you have something available for offering. In Jamaica, and I think Trinidad, if my memory serves me correct, there is the availability of a service provided by Digicel/Trend media that allows persons to run a campaign to the digital database of customers. So let's say, for instance, in Jamaica, Kingston is the capital, and we want to reach everybody in Kingston, or maybe we just want to reach 10,000 females in Kingston. Let's use the example of Kim's Beauty, Montego Bay. We want to reach 10,000 people in the city of Montego Bay. Then I can go to Digicel and say, hey, I want you to send a text message campaign to 10,000 females in Montego Bay with this message in it. And I can put a link to my website in that text message, and they will send out that campaign on my behalf to their database of 10,000 customers who I don't have numbers for, I have no way of reaching, but they are giving me access to. Is that clear?
Yes, I got it.
Right.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank
in other countries outside of Jamaica and Trinidad, I'm not aware of any telecommunications provider offering this service. I know there may be other persons who may provide a list or, offer email marketing to a list that you may not have access to, but I'm not aware of anybody who does it at a very large scale. Even here in Jamaica, there are persons, who try to come up with innovative ways of helping persons to market their business. So they may provide these types of value add services to businesses. But at the end of the day, you want to ensure that you're reaching, when you're paying your money for an advertisement, it's reaching persons, the right demographic of persons, and the numbers are correct and not all and inactive, right? And also if persons that are sending a message or an email to persons in a particular area, then you can do that. There's one alternative to this which is available to you through Google marketing as well, where you can actually choose to send an email to persons. The only drawback for me is that once you use Google's email marketing solution, you're going to end up in the promotions folder of everybody who receives that email, which very few people check. So a few persons will see your email, but you may find that you don't get much return on investment from that spend, So that's why it's not something that I highly recommend to persons. It's better to invest in Google Display and Google Search, where that is concerned. Any other questions? Or I hope that answered your question clearly. Any other questions? All right, let's quickly jump in. Let's spend 5 minutes only on this next section, which talks about the conversion elements. So, all right, that $1,000 was spent over here only in the lead generation section of the campaign. What happens after the lead has been generated? What happens after the customer is landed on the website? We're going to assume that the website is already built, is already ready, so we're not spending any money on generating this website. But we may choose to do a customized landing page, instead of it being a home page, like we did for Kim's Beauty. It could be a customized landing page specific for a particular product or product category, specific for a particular sale occasion. And we may choose to hire somebody to build that landing page. What's that cost going to be, right? What's that cost going to be from a creative standpoint? There's no add cost on your site, so you won't have to worry about that. It's just the setup of that system. Similarly as well, if you need to create product pages, like let's say you had only an information-based website, and you don't need to add e-commerce, you have to add the cost for that promote that product page and everything related to converting the sale on your website. Similarly as well, if you're going to be using blogs, as I mentioned here, there are different ways to generate traffic to your website. You could write blogs and promote them and then link the blogs to your landing page or product. But for us to be able to first and foremost have the blog up and running, somebody has to write that blog. Are you going to write the blog article yourself? Or are you going to hire somebody to write that blog article? Then you have to consider the cost for that creative, right? Similar thing again for your mailing list. It is popular for us to set up mailing list systems on websites when persons land there. So for example, I think we have one here on Bar is All in Wood, where if you scroll down, there's a section for adding your email address to get a discount, right? Since you're subscribed to get up to 50% off, right? Now we're not giving away 50% off, but up to, we could start at even 5%, but this makes it more compelling, right? So having persons enter an email address to join your mailing list is important for your campaign because it allows you to get more value out of your campaign. Meaning that you're running a campaign, people are visiting your website. A lot of these visitors won't be first-time shoppers. How do we get those first-time visitors to become shoppers? You know, could be by allowing them, asking them to leave contact information via their email address, and we can continuously re-engage them with information about the business, about the products, how the products can benefit the user, those types of things, and eventually we get them to buy, right? So setting up this infrastructure where, you know, the form is on the website or blog, the automatic email is sent out to the customer when they sign up to say, thanks for joining our mailing list. Here is your 10% or 20% coupon, which you can use with XYZ. All of that communication has to be developed. So whether or not you are developing it for free or you are paying somebody, you have to consider those costs. And then of course, optimization of the checkout flow. Suppose I want to sell one product at a time with Kim's Beauty, right? Instead of having persons add to cart and still peruse. I know that my customers are going to come, they're going to look for what they're going to buy, and they're going to check out. And chances are they are going to buy one thing at a time. Then I may choose to circumvent the add to cart process, where, you know, your persons go to the shop page and, you know, they click add to cart and check out. I may opt to put up a buy now button on the castor oil product, so that when people click buy now, it brings us straight to your checkout page. So instead of us having a add to cart, we put like a buy now button, and that brings us straight to your checkout page. So, you know, less clicks, less of a process for the customer to go through, which results in a higher conversion rate, right? So we could choose to optimize the checkout flow and add a cost. So these are the conversion tactics that I could enable on the website, or I could just leave it alone because I believe that maybe my website is already optimized. This is what people are used to. And if persons really want it, they will go through the process. But if that is my firm belief, I could choose only to incur the cost related to generating the leads. I could choose to incur only the cost related to driving conversions if I'm already getting leads, or I could only I could do both as well, right? For this case, we're going to leave this at 0 for now because we're not focusing too much on the conversion strategy, but more so on the leads, you know. But that pretty much rounds out the two areas that I wanted us to touch on today, as it relates to how you plan and manage how your campaign is executed. Any more questions before we wrap up?
I do. Do we have any what would be the word? It would be kind of like, what are our thoughts in using phone numbers for WhatsApp marketing? So as a part of sign up, you know, majority of companies will require a phone number. So can we automatically use that for marketing? Or what about like if we have a chat bot, then can we use that for marketing? Is anybody doing that for SMS marketing?
All right, so with phone numbers, you know, normally once you reach to the checkout page, let's go straight over there if we can. So we're already in the cart. Let's go to checkout. It is normal for us to collect name, phone number, email address as part of the checkout process for persons who buy. But I think you may be asking specifically about this joining the list for buyers. So we could have, you know, a name, phone number, and sorry, name, email, and the phone number for us to reach out to you. Now, once we have the phone number, we can determine whether I to text you, call you, or send you a WhatsApp. I personally have found WhatsApp sharing to be effective. When I was promoting my free course, I created about 4 groups of 200 people each, which is the limitation with WhatsApp groups. You can't have more than, I think, 200 now. I don't know if it has changed since then, but you know, I could do a broadcast to all 4 groups with the same content, and right away I reached maybe say about 800 persons, you know, just over a 10-minute period of sending out, copying and sending out those campaigns, those individuals. I find that whilst email is good for sharing and maintaining consistent relationship with your customers, SMS and WhatsApp is the most efficient way of getting immediate responses or getting persons to take immediate action on something. If I was walking down the road in Montego Bay and I heard that, hey, free wigs are given away over at Kim's Beauty, I'm a man, and I would walk over there to try to get one for my lady, yes? And I'm not even interested in wigs simply because I maybe was walking by, close by, not far. I get this text message, and this text message cause me to take an action right now. I'm likely to take that action. That's the nature of SMS, which is why we always encourage persons to consider SMS. The only thing with SMS is that it does come at a cost for every single message that you send. Whilst for WhatsApp, it may be free, right? So you can use WhatsApp to definitely drive communication and engagement with your prospects. It is a free resource. All you have to do is group persons and send out that WhatsApp communication to everybody accordingly.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about like stories? So just ask them, hey, can you, you know, we'll send you a message, add the number so that we could advertise via stories, and then they could decide to integrate it with or not. Would that be something that works? Is that something?
I mean, asking persons to reshare your content in your stories?
Not to reshare, just like, because like WhatsApp stories is really intimate and people are viewing stories on the daily. And so if you are having a promotion, if you're doing anything, if you create a piece of content and you share that via WhatsApp, it's, you know, you're almost gonna see a lot of engagement. There's gonna be a lot of viewage, right? So that's why I was thinking about using WhatsApp for that purpose, like in place of one of your social.
Right, so I personally find that putting content in your stories is actually one of the best forms of digital engagement. Why? WhatsApp stories is very good because people go there when they have free time to kind of idle a little bit or to look around a little bit. So people, if they see something that's interesting, and also WhatsApp is developing its features, you know, to now add links to a story post, that you won't have to now go to a different post to see the link. You can add the link directly to any picture or post. Even on social media, I will tell you that I feel like I get more responses or more engagement from ads that are run in the story or even posts that are made in the story than on the page itself. You know, once it's something that is really appealing or, you know, is really something that persons are likely to engage with, I find that story placements are doing very well compared to page placements. I've also heard some feedback recently that in Messenger chat ads, so Facebook allows you to run ads in multiple places. You can run it on your posts, you can post it in your stories, you can post it in Messenger chat. So let's say, for instance, you know, in a chat, or a chat opens with your ad in it, you know, persons engage with that. But because I believe that people go to their stories when they have free time, people look through their stories when they're looking for some information. Maybe I was on the Observer or Gleaner, I saw something in the post and I said the link is in the story. So people go to the story for links. People go to the stories for more information, right? So it's normal to get greater traction or greater engagement from story-based posts. That's my experience as well. So for WhatsApp, especially where, you know, it's not necessarily a social media platform, but a chat system, when you put things in your story, you know, people really go through and they see it. And the story is somewhere that you can use for post daily. So if you want to even tell your story, if you want to have continuous engagement with your brand, continuously posting in the stories is a way of helping yourself to do that. And it's free. Well, I always like to encourage persons to take advantage of free resources where you can. WhatsApp is one of those free resources that we definitely should be maximizing on, especially as small businesses, and especially if we sell to people around us,
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question before? Any other questions? No other questions? All right, so remember that Philip asked us if you have any outstanding documentation from a marketplace platform of choice, please send it by the end of this week, please. All right. That's it for me for today. Gilbert, I don't know if there's anything that you need to add or anything to say in closing. But that's it from my end.
As usual, man. Go ahead, Philip, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Gilbert, just to add to that reminder from Leighton. Yeah, because we need to close off on the preparation of the budget for this, because it's a process. And if we don't get that in, then the funds won't be made available. It's time sensitive. So those of you who still have that indicative invoice, please send it ASAP. That'd be very helpful.
Okay, good. All right, guys, have a productive day, rest of week. We look forward to connecting with you guys next week again. Feel free to connect with myself or Gilbert outside of the session if you need any additional support, need any information, anything at all, we're here to support. See you guys next week. Take care.